Hey everybody, my name is Brian, that is Shane, and you are watching the Popcast Unleashed. And yes, it is now, it's 12:30, so no, we're not doing the Cosmic Unleashed every week. So if you
Hell no, that was hard.
If you were waiting for that, there's no way that's happening. That's way too much work.
We were so stupid to do that. You guys have no idea. We didn't sleep for like 20 some odd hours.
Yeah, that was a rough one. But to be fair, sometimes doing something new is fun, and there was some fun quality to it.
No.
But it was definitely very difficult. The next morning, I was wiped out because I still had to go to work.
I know, right? We still had to keep going, dude. It was crazy.
Anyway, so we are talking about a variety of things today. Let me break it down for you. We were talking about Terry Matalas. So Terry Matalas himself, the showrunner of Star Trek Picard Season 3, actually breaks down the Season 3 trailer. And we got that story. There's a little Last of Us Episode 3 controversy that we need to talk about. James Gunn responds to Zachary Levy's big anti-Pharma tweets. And this is, someone said in the chat earlier, and I think it was Archmage, but he said, this is the lamest DC controversy ever. And I agree with you. This is the stupidest thing ever. But we have to talk about it because it's so stupid. Sometimes when something is so stupid, it has to be brought into the sunlight. Why? Because sunlight is a disinfectant, man. And you have to drag all these knuckle-dragging weirdos with bad ideas. You got to drag them out into the sunlight so the sunlight can beat down on them and show them for what they are. Idiots.
Well, and that's our opinion on that topic. Thank you.
And we're going to be talking about ChatGPT in the future of AI. We're actually going to start the show off with that. And,
yeah, it's everywhere. It's ridiculous.
And the James Gunn overall announcement. And in the members section, Strange New World has some new cast members. We're going to be breaking that down. And James Gunn supporting Ezra Miller. And, of course, the Quantum Leap Season 1, Episode 11 review. All that and more. It's on today's Popcast Unleashed.
All that and more. Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of good stuff to talk about. It was a really weird week. It was, we have a lot of stuff going on, guys. So if you're not aware, we're like, Picard Season 3 has become like this, this thing that we're orbiting like a planet right now, because the next 10 weeks, I mean, you got to remember, it launches in 14 days, right? Literally 2 weeks from today, Picard Season 3 launches. Okay, so we just got the streamers. So a lot of other media outlets have told you they've seen the first 6 episodes. Well, we've already seen the whole show, but we did also just get the first 6 again, which means we get to enjoy. Thank God. And I got to tell you, I don't even know if I can wait the 2 weeks to watch Picard Season 3 again.
Yeah.
So now we get to watch the first 6 episodes, and of course we'll be using those to do our videos. So yeah, so it's been busy. Also, we've got interviews coming up with Todd Stashwick, the new captain of the Titan, which we can't share who he is yet or what he'll be doing, but that's something we've got coming. We're going to be doing we're going to be visiting him and doing like a whole video at his house and stuff. It's going to be really cool.
Yeah. Can I break in real quick?
Yeah.
I'm so glad that he reminded us that we can't say what he does and any of the details in the show, because in my mind, when I saw the trailer, I'm like, oh, now everyone knows. No,
that's what I did.
Everyone doesn't know anything. And I was about to go on here today and be like, oh, okay, so breaking down this new captain. No, we can't say anything about him yet. All we know is that he's a captain in the show. That's all the trailer shows you. So that's all we can say.
Yeah, whatever the trailer shows you is it. So we were going to do, we actually had planned to do this big video, meet the captain of the Titan. And we started thinking about it, and that was supposed to come out like the Sunday before the show. And then we realized, oh, wait a sec. The show hasn't aired yet. We can't literally say anything yet.
Right.
So now it's going to come after the first episode of the show. So anyways, we've got the premiere next Thursday. So we're like really tight. The next 2 weeks are going to be like crazy Picard stuff. So we got plenty of other things to talk about, but just note that that we'll be probably talking about a lot of that stuff too.
How long was my mic off?
Jeez. We lost Brian.
my mic was off. All right. Yeah. So let's kick off the show. First off, hello everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm going to check the member section to make sure I don't lose anybody. But if you're in the member section and you're watching us there and you're chatting there, please do me a solid and come over to the Unleashed stream for the first half, because I don't want to miss what you're saying. So,
right.
And it's hard to monitor two different places.
There's a privilege being members, but definitely if you want to chat with us, let's do it over here. Otherwise, if you have comments when we get to the member section, we can always answer them then as well. So
we address everyone's comments in the member section too. But if you want to address them quickly, come on over to the stream. All right.
And we really appreciate you guys being here today. We just want to say we love you. We thank you for taking time out of your Thursday to hang out with us. It means so much. You guys have no idea. So thank you really so much.
I second that, sir. Good, sir. All right. So let's talk about this ChatGPT thing. An interesting thing occurred. I've been playing around with ChatGPT since before it was a actual like website you can visit and work with, right? When it was a GitHub string of code, I had installed it on my Python server. So the thing is, it utilizes and I don't want to get too nerdy here, but bottom line is, it utilizes like an actual AI and deep learning sort of code to.
Can we
go ahead
before you do all that? Can we just? A lot of people may not know what it is. So we do, because we're engaged with it a lot right now.
Yeah.
But you may not know. So if you guys aren't aware, just recently, I guess it officially actually took off a couple weeks ago, right?
Right.
It was like officially unleashed. Essentially what it is, it's called ChatGPT. You can go and basically what Brian was going to explain, you can add a bunch of parameters and it will write you things. It'll write you like a whole story. And so what we've noticed recently, especially in the last week, every like subreddit we go to, every Twitter, YouTube, all over the places, people are creating these ChatGPT stories about whatever interesting topic, and it's coming out, and the damn thing sounds like somebody actually wrote it. This thing is going to change the world. I mean, you may not realize it right now, but look, we're going to look back in 3 to 5 years, and the way content is created and the way things happen is going to be so much more AI generated. It's kind of scary. So we want to talk about it. Go ahead, Brian.
So on that same note, though, we also talked about, so that's what he just talked about was ChatGPT, using AI to learn from every question, every interface it has with humans, to then give you a better answer every time you ask it a question. And then there's the art version of it. Like there's Midjourney and there's Dolly and there's other services out there that will allow you to generate art based on parameters like Picard season 3, Doomcock,
right,
ultra realistic, in space. And you give it basically parameters, and then some more geeky parameters like -AR3/2 and some things to give it more context code wise. And then you hit the button and you sit there and wait, and it will sit there and it will generate you multiple options based on those parameters. And you pick one of those options, and whatever option's closest to what you want, you then reparameter, and it will give you 4 more options based on your first option, and then continually and so on until you get the perfect image, or what you assume is the perfect image for the parameters you typed in. Listen, ultra cool, really cool, but also a little scary because, right? I mean, listen, I'm a designer, an artist. Shane's a writer.
Are we out of a job?
There's an AI that can write, and there's an AI that can design. Uh-oh.
The AI doesn't have a soul yet, luckily. So, I mean, thank God there's still that. But, lately it seems like we're constantly seeing like images of like robots doing crazy things. If you notice on Twitter, it's like all this AI shit is just constantly coming up. There was like an army of dog robots doing push-ups or whatever the hell it was. And if that didn't look intimidating, I don't even know what to tell you. And then there's another video of like this robot, like with a gun and a guy standing in front of it. And they're like going through like shooting targets and doing all kinds of crazy stuff with this crazy robot.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, bro. When you see like an army of dog robots doing push-ups, we got a problem.
We got a problem, right?
We've made some mistakes.
Yeah. So
No, and there's also, I found out yesterday, there's a Twitch channel where there's a 24-hour stream of like a Seinfeld parody. And it's sort of low quality, and it's obviously very robotic, but it's learning every day. And basically they have AI art generators and AI text generators and AI speech, and they're using all these in one to create like these pseudo Seinfeld episodes with Elaine, Jerry, and Kramer and whatever.
Really? So
And
is it like somebody talking? Is it a voice? What is it?
So it's a robotic voice for the characters. Like,
Okay.
the typical, hi, please press 7.
What do you see on the screen?
It's like these really low res, like 3D art characters.
Oh, okay. So it's not the actual characters from the show.
No. But here's the deal: you go back a month ago, and it was horrible. Now, it's better, and it's getting better.
Only a month? Only a month?
In only a month, it's gone from like total like nightmare fuel to like I can see a plot like actually forming here, completely autonomously.
Let me tell you what's scary about this. So when they first started with chess and they taught the computer how to play chess, it wasn't very good.
No.
And over time it learned by playing other people and getting better and better and better. Now, nobody can beat the computer in chess. There's nobody on the planet who can beat the computer in chess. What's going to happen when it comes to writing or art? Like nobody's going to be able to write better or create better art than the computer soon, right? If you follow that logic.
I mean, yeah, so the art is not great. Like some of it's awesome after after a human dialed in the parameters over a period of 7 to 10, sometimes weeks of effort to make something look great. At this point, it's still a tool for sure. Every once in a while though, you get lucky. Like you type in a parameter and the first image is like pretty good. Like I think that's good enough. And it took like 5 minutes. Most of the time though, because I've played with it a lot. A lot. I've been playing with it for longer than it was public. I was invited to the Midjourney experiment before anyone knew what Midjourney was. I was invited to the OpenAI experiment because I begged for the ChatGPT when I saw it on so OpenAI actually started on a Dota 2 thing. I'm a massive Dota 2 fan. And they started during one of the big international tournaments. They literally said, we're going to create a bot that can beat pro players. And they had this bot playing against pro players for months. And it learned. And at first it was horrible. And then it was like just top tier, totally godlike, completely unkillable. And when I learned about that, I'm like, I want to know more about this right now. So I got into I got on all the programs. Like I'm a person who needs to know the next thing. I do believe this is the next thing, and I'm not sure if it's good or bad for all of us normies out here. But it's certainly going to be an interesting time. And I gotta tell you, first big company to really invest in AI. That should probably be something you invest in.
And I was going to say, Elon Musk is behind this ChatGPT.
Well, OpenAI.
Or OpenAI. Well, okay, so he's behind it. So just keep shoving money into Tesla until you can invest it into something else he does. Eventually, Starlink's going to become public. Then shove your money in that, and then what's the rocket one where he's launching? What's that?
Oh,
SpaceX.
SpaceX.
Oh yeah. And SpaceX. So as soon as all those start opening up to the public, just shove your money in there because in 50 years, I'm pretty sure Elon Musk is going to own the planet. So you might as well put your money in there.
All right. All right. So enough about ChatGPT. We wanted to get that out of the way because we were like talking about it right before the show, and we're like, you know what? Let's just talk about this on the show because
we were already having a big old great conversation about it.
Yeah, we looked at the clock and we're like, oh, snaps. Time to start the show. All right.
Yeah. So there is a second thing I'd like to move on to real quick. I know you have a whole agenda for us planned, but I got one thing I want to sneak in. If you can pull up the Honest Pop Culture website.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we put this out last week. we are expanding, and we've started a media site called honestpopculture.com. And as you can see, a lot of the articles we're going to be talking about today are here. And we're going to be doing more. What we're looking for right now are people who are interested into breaking into writing, breaking into the journalism field, that want to start doing some interning. So if you're interested in trying to get your byline out there, getting some published work, we are looking for a few really good people to do articles and to start doing some new stuff. And we got some really great interviews and stuff that we can get lined up for you. Send us an email over at thepopcast, DAPOPCAST, at gmail.com, and let us know you're interested. And we're going to bring in, I don't know, probably 3 to 5 people. So hit us up.
Yeah. Just to be clear, that email address was because we couldn't get the Popcast, and we didn't know.
Brian was like, whatever.
We didn't know we'd ever have to share it with anyone. So we were just like, just get the Popcast. And we got DA Popcast. And then now, like 3 years later, when we're like having to give it out to people, I feel really stupid because it sounds so stupid.
It's like, I know it's, but it's like, it is what it is. So until we can figure out how to get the Popcast from somewhere, I think those Jamie Knox people probably stole it already.
Well, I mean, the Gmail maybe. We got them on the YouTube channel for sure. Yeah, let me put it on screen so that
people, we could have our own email.
I mean, we did have like info.
It's not for Gmail.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's just a lot of work. This is it. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys.
That's always the problem. Yeah. So if you're interested, send us a thing over there. We're going to be expanding into lots of stuff. So if you want to be a part of the Popcast, Shane and Brian journey, just let us know there. And yeah. So
there's the email address right there on screen. The Popcast. It sounds so illiterate. Yeah, and and if you ever want to go there to like look at the stories we talk about today, like I literally put all the tweets that we're covering for the Weekly Terry into one article, so like you can go like verify we're not just like giving you nonsense like Terry said. It's all there if you want to look at it. All right,
all legit. Screen Rant, watch out! Watch out!
Yeah, we're coming for you, Screen Rant. We're coming hard.
They're not worried about us right now.
We're coming. Like, who the fuck are you?
What? Who are you guys? Never even heard of you.
All right, man. Let's do the breakdown first. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, we are talking about the latest Star Trek Picard Season 3 trailer. I would say the final Star Trek Picard Season 3 trailer. We know that there is no more trailers after this. This is the last one. And we got a actual breakdown from the actual showrunner, Terry Matalas. And I was going to use this in our Weekly Terry this week. And then I was like, you know what? This sort of deserves its own thing. And it came from TrekMovie.com. So let's break it down now. It's pretty good. Pretty good stuff.
So why aren't we doing this in the Weekly Terry? Just curious.
Because there's a bunch of other stuff in the Weekly Terry to talk about.
Because we got so much stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there's so much Terry this week. There's so much Weekly Terry.
So much. Okay.
All right. This is what it says. The latest trailer for the final season of Star Trek Picard was released on Sunday, revealing a multitude of events and plot points. While we have already reported on some immediate responses from the Picard team, there is still a lot to delve into detail. In the past, blah, 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 blah. All right, this is what Terry Matalas says.
Blah, blah, blah.
Sorry. So the first scene is, he says about the boatswain, the boatswain. How do you say it? Boatswain?
Boatswain.
About the boatswain.
Looks like a Wayne,
whistle.
Yeah.
He says, I very much prefer Starfleet to feel like the Navy. And certainly the original series and a lot of what Star Trek 2 and 6 director Nick Meyer did feels like that most. And the trailer, as does the first episode, starts with an air of pomp and circumstance. So it's just getting a feel of what I think Starfleet should feel like. It's the military. It's serious. There are protocols. and that sort of permeates throughout the season. Dude, I love this so much.
That is so important. If you go back to TOS, like it is the Navy. Like this is what spaceships are. I mean, you think about it, you're like in a submarine.
Right.
Right. And it's got the military structure. I've always thought of it that way. And as it being in the Navy. And of course, I was in the Navy. So a lot of things like boatswain's whistles and stuff. It's great. It's a part of Star Trek lore, and I absolutely love that he's embraced it.
Yeah, and that's a big problem we had with Discovery. So let's cut the acting out. Let's cut the bad storylines out. Let's cut the complete disregard for 70 years of canon out. Let's look at just the most basic aspects of Starfleet. That was the most offensive thing to me right away, was that they weren't military. They didn't act like military. There wasn't a clear command structure. Michael Berman, whatever her name is, constantly disobeyed the command structure. Constantly committed like multiple offenses of treason every season, and no one ever held her to it. Oh no, she was right. And at what point is she just allowed to be treasonous constantly? And she's still, and then she fails upwards until she's the captain of the ship that she initially treasoned against. Jesus.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of the part of it. And also, even in if you look at the new Strange New World show, it's a very laxed chain of command structure.
Right.
You know, the captain and the helmsman are buddies. You know, the captains, which is fine. I mean, cooking meals every night and kind of, it's very relaxed. And if you go back to TOS or you go back to TNG, the things that you remember is what the captain said goes. You know, if Kirk or Picard, you know, made a decision, then that's where everybody went. And it does feel a little more loosey-goosey. Getting back here to Picard season 3, you're getting more back to that feel of how command is supposed to work. But yet you are still going to see some interesting things that break down the command structure. So I love what Terry's saying, but at the same time, there are some people not always listening to instructions.
That's
and not always doing what they're supposed to be doing.
That's accurate.
So it is in the Star Trek. I mean, because that is part of Star Trek.
But it makes sense, though. The things the things you're referring to make complete sense considering the history.
Right. But ultimately, they're following rules until rules perhaps maybe shouldn't be followed.
Right.
You know, so if Kirk is stealing, you know, a vessel to go back in time to Earth, and he's not supposed to be doing so, the things happening in Picard season 3 are happening for a reason that we realize is the right call.
Spoiler alert: Kirk stole a Klingon bird of prey to go back in time.
That's right.
In case you forgot. Super chat from Mexican Iron Man. Thank you, Mike. Listening in from remote client location in Hilton Head. Great seeing you for lunch, and thank you both for all you do for us Trek fans. Dude, I had lunch with Mexican Iron Man, and it was awesome. You are truly our other brother from Mexican mother, my friend. You are right there with us. We think the same. We have the same humor, and I hope that we can do some stuff together, because that was a great lunch, and I enjoyed my tenderloin tacos. I'm not gonna lie.
He's at a remote location in Hilton Head. That's great golfing country out there. I wonder if he's golfing.
All right, moving on with this. They asked, is this the same whistle seen in Star Trek 5? And he said, I felt like those whistles are usually traditional and passed down from ship to ship. So we thought that might be the case here. And I suppose it could be the same one, or just an older 100-year-old model. Is it passed down from ship to ship?
No. No, there's nothing traditional necessarily. There's nothing sacred traditional about the boatswain's whistle. In fact, what's cool is when you're a boatswain's mate in the Navy, every boatswain learns to pipe a whistle. It's used for, you know, coming aboard. It's used for a lot of actually different things. So it's not ceremoniously traditional. I mean, maybe in Star Trek they've made it that way, but I can't think of anything in the lore that suggests that's specific. But
okay. Next shot is of 7 of 9. And, they asked, so 7 of 9 is now a commander. And in the first officer of the USS Titan, the main ship for that season, we see her greeting Picard and Riker and presenting him to the bridge crew. It's a bit awkward moment. Here's Terry's brief glimpse into what's going on here. It is very much a conflict for her as to how fast she was inducted into Starfleet and whether or not she truly feels as though she belongs, and her captain feels as though she belongs. Interesting.
He actually gave away quite a bit of info there. Terry kind of gives some good stuff away sometimes.
Yeah.
We're really going to go into, we're going to really understand Seven's character a little more. Picard season 2 just totally didn't do her any justice. Picard season 2 was absent 7 of 9. She was there, but she really wasn't there.
Right.
This season, you're going to get some real fleshing out of 7 of 9. And it's going to make you feel really good about the character, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, she's great. So they go on as the captain of the USS Titan is played by Todd Stashwick. With all the prior speculation that he had tapped his member of the... I don't know why it's written so poorly. Matalas joked it was the worst kept secret in Star Trek, but he also predicted, I think he's going to be the fan favorite. Yeah. Yeah, he's going to be a fan favorite.
I think so. I mean, he in a way he kind of steals the show. Is he the fan favorite? I mean, you're going to love your original characters the most.
Yeah.
I mean, he's great, but you know what it is about Todd is he adds a flavor to the show that's different and unique from anything you really ever see in Star Trek.
Right.
And that's, I think, what's cool about it is you're getting a personality that I don't think we've ever seen before. And
and it's so authentic. It's really good.
Right. It's like honest and believable. So, and you end up, I think you start out kind of not liking him and then you end up really loving him as you go on.
Yeah. Yeah. He really is outstanding. So they asked about the scene where he's talking about like, we're not going to be blowing things up or crash landing or.
Oh yeah.
That was so good. And it's so perfect. Like, I'm so glad that was in the trailer, and no spoilers here, but it's perfect for this character to say that.
Well, and what's cool is in the trailer, they didn't ruin it. So they very easily, I hate it when trailers ruin it because you don't really know the tone of that character from that speech. Like you don't get what he means by those words he's saying.
Right.
And we're not going to tell you because it'll ruin it. But when you watch it, there's a special tone that's being delivered that's you don't see in the trailer.
Yeah.
That's going to have a lot to do with how important the scene is.
Yeah. And at first you feel like it's just comedy, but it's actually super deep and heartwarming. It's fantastic. This is what Terry said. Again, harkening back to what I said earlier about this being the military and how legacy characters like Picard and Riker tend to be able to throw their weight around within this organization and get special treatment doesn't always sit well with everyone within the military. Yeah. I guess that's pretty accurate.
It's true. Yeah, I mean, military is a lot different now than it used to be. Things are changing.
Right. All right. Military right now is sort of...
People have more opinions. It used to be in the military, you just did what you were told and you shut up and that was kind of it. Nowadays, it seems like everybody gets to have an opinion, which is different, but...
Yeah. No, I'm going to say what you're not saying right now. It's worse.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Every soldier, every 19-year-old that just joined TikTok, just joined the military having a TikTok page is stupid. They should not be allowed to be in their barracks, in uniform, in their BDUs, making TikToks about hooking up with a barracks bunny. That is so uncouth. It's so embarrassing for the military. Stop doing that. How is that allowed? Why is that allowed? Why are they allowed to have you join the military, you lose your voice while you're on the clock. You want your voice off the clock? Cool. Don't do it in uniform. We used to have a rule. You can't just go out into the world in your BDUs and front your military service as a way to get attention. You weren't allowed to do that. You literally were not allowed to wear your BDUs two events. You can wear them going home or going to work. But wearing them around town was actually against the rules.
Right.
Why are we allowed to make TikTok dances in cut off military BDUs in the barracks?
Well, see, they're still on base. That's why they're doing it. But the reality is when I was still in the military, right at the end of my service, of course, we had MySpace. So when I was leaving the military, it was MySpace, and there was a whole problem with how much from your military can you have in social media, and I think that's still something they're trying to tackle. It's really hard to get your arms wrapped around because you basically you represent yourself. When you're in military, you're representing the military. When you're in your uniform, you're representing the branch of the military you're in and everything that you do, and it's a reflection. So you can actually be held accountable for that under the uniform code of military justice. So maybe there's some things happening behind the scenes when you see those TikToks, and they may not be there for very long.
Yeah, I hope not. BDUs are battle dress uniforms. So like when you see like the
camouflage,
the camouflage, or like the digital print,
camouflage,
right? Yeah. So I have a closet full of, or a giant bag actually now full of BDUs, because the more you had, the less laundry you had to do every week. So I tended to just buy new BDUs every time I got a paycheck. I would just be at the PX, this is like the military store, just buying BDUs because I didn't want to do laundry.
I don't blame you. Let's see. We got a super chat from Hiroshi the dog. Thank you for the $5 euro. It just came to my mind that Seven spent her whole life on starships since she was a baby. Really good point. Yeah, she really did. I mean, she is a child. She was taken by the Borg, and she was basically incubated, I guess, as a small child, and then all the way to a woman. And she's still out there doing it, from the Fenris Rangers to now a member of Starfleet. So she's she's been out for a long time.
In a way, that's actually sort of addressed. Interesting enough in this season, sort of. Yes, thank you, Matt Vader. Smash the thumbs up button, my friends.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see, no matter what happens after this series is over, no matter what we do next, I am pretty sure Jerry Ryan and 7 of 9 will not be going anywhere.
Oh yeah, so that's so quickly. Let's break in here quickly to say something about that. There are rumors floating around that she might do the Janeway show with Janeway, and we talked about that before. And of course, we're gonna want to see her come back after this, for another series with Terry Matalas, perhaps. Bottom line is, the reason all these rumors are being floated around is because she is so good in this season. Everyone is outstanding in this season, but some of the breakout characters and actors are the ones you spend the most time with, and Seven is one of those characters. As usual, Seven is either great or just topping. She's never actively a distraction or detraction from the story. She's a great actress and a great character, and I think that a little Seven flavoring is always going to be, something that if they could include it, they will.
Yeah, as long as they can stay true to her character always. We're going to see more of her in the future, no matter what.
So they also ask him, and guys, I'm sorry about the cursor. When you say there was a cursor on my face, was it on my face? Was it on Shane's face? Let me know, because I'm not seeing the cursor the way you are. All right, so they asked him, is there more action in this season? And he basically Terry said, there's certainly more action than in seasons 1 and 2. And I gotta tell you, 100% correct.
Yeah,
there is true. Like triple the action. It's like all the action that should have been in season 1 and season 2 was like carried forward into season 3. It's like rollover action, man.
Yeah, it's throughout the whole middle of the series. It's like nonstop action.
Yeah, it's almost sort of exhausting. Continuing over at Trek Movie, and by the way, this interview is on TrekMovie.com. Only a portion of it's on Honest Pop Culture because we want to give Trek Movie the credit they deserve.
Yep, this is their. I think this was their
exclusive.
Right. Yeah.
So they actually asked him, so the Titan has 2 captains and an admiral on board. In addition to the actual captain of the Titan, we have seen shots in this and other trailers of Seven, Picard, and Riker in the captain's chair. When asked if there's an element of too many cooks on the bridge, Matalas replies, that definitely comes into question early on. Yes. Yeah, it does. And I would like to point you to his previous tweets where he compared it to... Remember that military movie with Denzel Washington and Gene Hackman?
Oh, Crimson Tide.
Yeah, he compared it to Crimson Tide. So if you want a feeling of what is happening on the bridge in season 3, there is a very Crimson Tide element to it for at least a couple episodes.
But imagine, okay, so imagine Gene Hackman and Denzel Washington. They didn't really know each other. Now imagine a couple of people who know each other really well.
Right. It's Crimson Tide, but they're bros. They're basically brothers, right?
They're bros.
Yeah. They're me and Shane. All right.
So who's Picard and who's Riker?
Oh, I'm definitely Riker.
Damn it! I'm gonna lose my hair.
Not only do I have the beard, but I have mastered the art of the chair sitting.
Okay. Yeah. I actually always hated that.
Yeah, I hated that until I saw a supercut of it. Then I was like, "That's the coolest thing I've ever seen in my goddamn life." That's outstanding.
When he was young, I'm like, well, he's so presumptuous. Look at him just sitting anywhere
love
he
it.
wants. Now I can't. I love the man.
Yeah, they continue. Worf's warning. So cut around a shot of Titan Bridge on red alert and stash with Captain saying, "Battle stations!" We hear Worf in voiceover saying there's something coming. Some kind of attack. And Starfleet could be the target.
And by the way, if you guys want to see a video breakdown of this, we haven't mentioned it, but the trailer for Picard, we actually do a complete breakdown of the entire trailer, scene by scene. You can see that over on the other channel, the Popcast. And it breaks it down, I mean, literally word for word. All the Easter eggs we can find and everything. So
yeah, we put a lot of effort into it. If you guys want to look at it, it is right here. This is what it looks like. Star Trek Picard season final trailer. It's right here. Just go to there and boom, watch it. All right. So let me get back to this. Thank you for cutting me off. There's something coming.
That's what I'm good at.
Some kind of attack, and Starfleet could be the target. God, Worf is so fucking awesome in this series.
He's so great in this show.
I've been watching the screeners over and over again, like some kind of like insane person,
obsessed person. Yeah,
I'm obsessed, like for sure. And oh god, Worf is so damn cool.
You know what, guys?
He is so cool. I cannot. Every time I'm feeling like, oh, this might be cringe. No, Worf saves the day. Like he's so damn good. He's so good. Anyways, Matalas had previously said that the season's main plot is tied to the aftermath of the Dominion War. He said that? He said it's tied to the aftermath of the Dominion War? Jeez, that is giving away a lot. Oh my god.
He did. He's always kind of said that Worf's DS9 story was continuing.
Well, I mean, yeah. Wow.
But that's pretty specific.
And it's really specific. It's like so specific. And for our trailer analysis, he does confirm this connection. Yes, absolutely. Worf is connected to the main plot. He is still dealing with the fallout of the Dominion War. He says it again. Oh my god. Oh my god, dude. Look. Okay, so here's the deal. There are 3 types of Star Trek fans. There are Star Trek fans that are just always wrong because they're bad viewers of television, and they probably have, they're a little light on the IQ, but they like explosions. And those people really love, and no offense, but they really love Star Trek Beyond. And I like Star Trek Beyond too. So I'm one of those people. But then there's the people that don't care about canon or theories or whatever, and they just sort of want to enjoy TV. And those are the same people that when you ask them what do they like better, Star Trek or Star Wars, they go, "What's the difference?" And you want to just smack them in the face. And there's the vast majority of Trek fans who will read into every everything you say, every frame, every word in the trailer, everything, down to the credits. They will look at the credits to try to find a pattern. The majority of Star Trek fans are, and no offense, I say this with love, we're nuts.
I mean, that's me.
Yeah.
So you're right.
Yes. So him saying 3 times that there's a connection to the Dominion War, there's no way that is lost on people.
No, I mean, well, but it doesn't give away specifics. But yeah, there is. It does not specifically give away anything.
Enterprise F is there, but not the focus. Worf's warning cuts to a shot of the USS Enterprise, the successor to the USS Enterprise E, which appeared in 3 TNG movies. The Enterprise F joins other ships as Worf warns about the attack on Starfleet. But Matalas wanted to make it clear that the Enterprise F is not the hero for the season.
It's true.
You know what? There is a point where maybe he just stopped doing these interviews.
I mean, I think that's been said before, though.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm almost positive it's been said before. We're on the Titan mostly. Now, we're going to see multiple enterprises, as Patrick Stewart has already told everybody, and which everybody's like, wait, did he just say multiple enterprises?
He ruined it, yeah.
From the very beginning. I mean, before we'd even seen the show. And so you're going to...
You know, it's Jay.
There's no hero, you know? I don't think there's a ship that's a hero of this season.
Well, no, yeah. So what Terry says exactly is more like an underdog, right? The Enterprise F is not the focus of the season, although it does appear in a very, very important moment. It's not the focus. The Next Gen cast does not all gather on the Enterprise F and go on a bunch of adventures. That is so well worded.
That is really well put. Yeah.
The hero ship of the season is the Titan, the underdog. Okay.
Yeah. And you're going to see more than just these 2 ships.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of ships. A lot of awesome ships. Bro, when Patrick Stewart said the multiple enterprises thing, you and I were like, all right, time travel.
Time travel. It must be time travel.
How does this work? How is there multiple enterprises? I love how simple the answer was, and it was so brilliant the way it was.
Yeah.
All right. Ed Speleers is part of the Crutcher's crew. The trailer also introduces a new, still unnamed. By the way, I forgot he was unnamed. I was on Twitter and I almost answered someone with his name. I was like, well, no. But I actually had typed, thank God for the undo tweet feature, bro.
Oh, thank God. Oh, really? So you had tweeted it?
I hit it, but it was still in the thing where it's like sending. And I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, no, stop. Undo send.
Oh, thank God you figured that out, dude. We would have been smashed.
I forgot. In my mind, everyone knows what his name is.
You're not allowed to tweet anymore.
And his connection. And I almost...
Just because you said that, now I'm terrified.
I almost replied, no, I've been hyper vigilant since then, by the way.
Hey, I can see Paramount, CBS, Terry Matalas, everybody going, okay, kill the Popcast guy.
Yeah. There's just like snipers outside my house. No, listen.
Nobody knows his name, dude.
Yeah.
You know what's...
I know. But isn't that wild?
It's wild to us because we've known it for 3 months.
I know. I feel like everyone should know his name right now.
Right. And so we saw the trailer, but you're right. It didn't say their names. It didn't say who Todd Stashwick is playing. What's the name of that captain? We don't know.
I will tell you his name. Like in the trailer, though, if you're going frame by frame, like you might get a good, healthy idea of what his name is.
Is it on the name tag?
No.
There's no name tag.
No, it's in the trailer though. It's in the very first part.
Is it on like a name card or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's interesting. Good
on
point.
Beverly
but
ship.
This guy's name you cannot tell.
Right.
You cannot tell Ed Speleers' name. His name is critical to the show. You can't say it.
Yeah,
at
I know.
all.
Saying Ed Speleers, I feel like I'm doing something wrong. Because for like 3 months we held on to a secret.
It would have been the worst spoiler of all time, you giving away for the show.
I know.
If you would have given away that name, it would have ruined everything.
Shane, I know.
My God, I'm having a panic attack.
This is why I've stopped talking about Picard on Twitter. I was deadly afraid that I almost made this massive mistake.
Now the screeners are out. See, here's the reason why we're talking like this. The screeners are out now. So a lot of people have access to the information.
Right.
And so now is when Paramount is looking to kill people.
Right.
So they have their snipers out and they're just waiting to pick off people and never let them have information ever again. So.
Yeah, and just to be clear, previously when we had procured information on Picard season 3, either have seen it or before that we even got like information that was really early.
From insider.
It was not through official means. Okay.
Right. So we couldn't get in trouble.
It was through our means, us normal, regular scum of the earth Trekkies down here, reaching out to people on the production staff and like talking to like literal like people that like clean the sets, basically the janitors. Like we talked to people that probably won't even show up on the credits in order to get that information. But now that we're looped into the official, the official sources, like we can't reveal things. Like we have to be
that's
clear.
how they get you. That's how they put the handcuffs on you.
Right.
They legitimize you, put the handcuffs on you. So congratulations. Yeah.
Before we were making all these like theory videos, and by the way, we were right. I love that there was like this Reddit post where it was like, is Ed Spaliers, and they had like this theory. And someone responded with like a link to our video, and they're like, yes, there's the video. And so one of the replies to that comment was, how is this 5 months old?
Right.
How is the video 5 months old? So the thing is, like, that's how they get you, right? So we were right enough for us to get official connections, and now that we have official connections and we know official things, we can't talk about it.
Right.
I almost wish I can go back to the Rebel days where we were just crawling through people's trash.
Right. That's true. It was all unconfirmed though. This is way better having good confirmed information.
That's true. Yes, Dork Knight, the handcuffs are fuzzy.
Okay, let's keep going here.
All right. So he says, is anybody you know still the person you knew? That's what Ed Spaliers' character says. Matalas did offer a bit about this mysterious character. It's wild that it's mysterious to me. He is a crewman on the Helios, Beverly Crusher's starship, and he is a member of Beverly's sort of Doctors Without Borders group, who's helping people on worlds that Starfleet has forgotten. Wild.
That's safe. That's fair.
That is like borderline, right?
I mean, it's safe. Yeah, I mean, the fact that
it's safe, but it's on the border of being not safe.
I mean, it pushes you towards theories for sure.
Right?
But yeah, that's an accurate statement without giving away too much.
Right. By the way, a lot here is like really good. Like Terry really thought these through. It's nice. In another voiceover, we hear Deanna Troi saying, "There is a darkness, an all-consuming darkness." Troi can be seen at various points in the trailer as well, even though Worf's warning has a direct connection to his history of the Dominion War. Matalas said that all of the returning TNG crew have their own connections to the story. This is what Matalas said. They all fit into the main plot. This won't feel like a bunch of disparate stories that don't come together. Everything here is connected to one singular idea. So she is definitely feeling the main threat of the season.
That's really well put. Yeah. And I would argue that probably Deanna's the lightest of the characters.
Yeah.
Throughout the season, but they all do. Yeah. They're not cameos, guys. You're all together. And
they're not window dressing. Like, even though she's the lightest of the characters, she plays a significant role still.
Exactly.
I'm coughing so much today. So a new shot of Rafi, no longer in a Starfleet uniform, as she was at the end of season 2, appears to be showing her putting something into her eye. The character has a history of substance abuse, so could this indicate she has fallen off the wagon? Matalas would only say, "That's a good question."
Yeah, and that's exactly what he should have said. And because I looked very deeply into Star Trek lore for anything that has to do with what she's doing to herself right here, and there's just nothing there that I could find, so we're not going to say anything either. But it's important to the plot.
Right. The showrunner did offer some insight into what's in store for the character this season. We definitely reinvent Rafi quite a bit in this season. She is on her own journey in a really interesting and surprising way. Yes! I'm so glad he said this. Because I wanted to say this, but I didn't know if I could. This is not the Rafi, and my mic is so far away because I'm yelling.
I think you got excited.
This is not the Rafi from Picard season 1 and 2. Mm-mm. It's not.
I mean, it is. No.
It's the same. It's the same character.
Look, can we say? Okay, go ahead.
But it's not. It's the same character, but there has been significant growth.
I would argue that growth occurs at the beginning of the show. I would say at the beginning of season 1, at the very, very beginning, you get season 1, season 2 Rafi. And I would say that transition occurs during the show.
And the reason it occurs is so good.
Yes. And the reason it occurs is good, which we're not going to say. And you end up, listen, if you didn't like Rafi, which guess what? We didn't like Rafi. We didn't like Rafi at all. In season 2, we were like so annoyed with her and done with her. We were wondering, what's up with Michelle Hurd.
I'm going to be honest. I hated her in season 2. I hated her.
I know. It was terrible.
Every word that came out of her mouth made me cringe. I despise that character.
By the end of Picard season 3, you end up loving her again.
Yeah, you do.
So, yeah.
It's wild. You end up really liking this character. And finally seeing what Michelle can actually do. Like, she's actually a good actress. She's not just a whiny, angry character. She has depth, dude.
When she has good content, she's a really great actress.
Yeah. I can't believe I'm like, imagine going back like a year ago and saying, man, you're going to love this Rafi in Picard season 3. Like, yeah.
Would have never believed it.
That's why whenever I hear like Doomcock like spouting off, I'm like, I sort of get it.
I get it. We're going to talk more about him during the weekly tear.
Yeah, we will. We're going to. All right. It has been previously reported that the season kicks off with Beverly Crusher on an attack ship. Yada, yada, yada. This is what Matalas said. There is a reason that Beverly will only reach out to Picard here. There's a reason that she can only trust him. Something going on is dire enough to reach out to Picard in this way. The stakes are very high. Yeah.
Yeah, nice setup.
And then having watched it again, like, so the first time I watched it, I was like, I just loved everything. And I'm like, okay, now I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it with as critical eye as possible. And I'm sitting there and I'm trying to pick apart every problem the way we would everything else. Mm-hmm. And like everything has a solid like explanation that only adds to the previous explanation. It's like, it's so well done. And I gotta say, if Terry ever sees this, dude, holy crap, man. You have really delivered on everything you promised. It's really quite good.
Well said.
The main villain of the season is Vadic, played by Amanda Plummer, who says in the trailer, Jean-Luc Picard, we will have vengeance. Vengeance is a comment. I've heard that line 50 times.
Yes, you have.
Vengeance is
even
a
in our video.
What?
Especially doing our video.
Yeah. We will have vengeance. I see. Like there's a spoiler there. There's a little tidbit of information in what she says.
Well, you don't know what the vengeance is for, but yeah.
Right. Vengeance is a common theme for villain motivation, both in Star Trek and outside of Trek. However, Matalas made it clear there's a little bit more going on here. This is what Matalas said. There's infinitely more to it. Yes. There's infinitely more to it. Infinitely.
Surprise.
Just because there's a line in the trailer that references vengeance doesn't mean people have to roll their eyes about Khan. Thank you. If I were to include more of Vadic's dialogue, it would be spoiling it too much for her motivation. I'm not in the business of spoiling things for fans that are part of the plot, and that reveals that makes the story satisfying. For now, vengeance is certainly part of what she has to say, but certainly not all. Amen, brother.
That should be enough to pique your interest. I mean, just knowing that vengeance is what does that mean, right? So vengeance means, somebody wants to get even, right? So that means something bad must have occurred.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Just define vengeance and let your imagination do the walking.
Right. Yeah. All right. Sorry, I had this thought I can't say what it is. I'll tell you later.
All right.
There's this. I remember this line. I'm going to tell you later. Just remind me, please.
Okay.
God, I can't wait to talk about this series. Like, I
We're
can't
close.
wait. We're so
weeks,
close.
man.
Vanek can also be heard on our ship. The Shrike attacks as the Shrike attacks the USS Titan. Then we cut to a shot of Vanek and her masked soldiers. Matalas draws a connection between their look and her ship. Her masked folk are symbolic of her ship being the Shrike, that sort of bird-like skeleton on them, and part of her philosophy, which you'll hear more about when you watch the season. Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah, I mean, that's good, but I don't think it's that important for
the
overall.
I mean, listen, henchmen, goons are just that.
Yeah, they're henchmen. Exactly.
Yeah, they're henchmen. That's it. This really is the end, but Rager says to Picard, you and I have traveled the far reaches of space, but something different now. This is the end, my friend. What a great line for a trailer. As the trailer cuts to a title card with the final voyage begins. Then he reveals the TNG cast were returning for season 3 last year. Matalas said he was inspired to give them a proper send-off. In fact, the message of the final season in all the promos and posters, however, members of the cast and even Alex Kurtzman have hinted that there could be more beyond season 3. All right, so before I talk about how Matalas clarified this, there will always be more Star Trek.
Right.
But what kind of Star Trek? That's what's important. There is no way Paramount is giving up its cash cow. Imagine if Disney decided they're no longer making Mickey Mouse cartoons. Of course, that's never going to happen.
Right.
Paramount is never going to stop producing Star Trek. But there are two types of Star Trek. Bad Star Trek and good Star Trek. And
amen to that.
Recently, we've gotten pretty much mostly bad. And while some members of the cast and even Alex Kurtzman have hinted that there could be more beyond season 3, no, there will be more after season 3.
The next time you decide to do a story outside the Weekly Terry, I'm going to smack you. This should be in the Weekly Terry.
No, the Weekly Terry is too full.
There's so much stuff to talk about with what you said. So maybe we should come to an end here after you finish this, because there's so much that needs to go in the Weekly Terry about this stuff that's Doomcock's been tweeting about, stuff that's out there. It's all attached to what you're saying.
We're about to talk about that on the Weekly Terry.
But it's all attached to what you're saying right now. So it's almost like the same
That's
segment.
why we need to talk about this first before we get to the Weekly Terry.
All right. Well, I would say, what are you going to go from this to the Weekly Terry? Because it's all the same thing.
No, I wasn't going to jump right into it, but we could if you want. I just want to make sure this chronologically was first so that people watching understood when we got the Weekly Terry.
All right.
This is what Matalas said, and we're gonna wrap it up here. There is no question that this will feel, by the time it's over, like the final voyage of the Next Gen cast. And without going into specific spoilerific detail, that doesn't mean to say that a kind of next generation show couldn't continue with legacy characters. A kind of Star Trek legacy, if you will, where these characters can continue to interact with a whole new generation. And when I say that, I also mean characters from Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and as well. But again, I will remind fans, this is just my dream of dreams and is not currently in development anyway. But should it ever be, I would be there in the New York Minute. Thank you.
So let me just point out here really quick. So shout out right now, the Dave Cullen show being here. Dave, really thanks. Glad you're here and glad you showed up. And thank you for the comment that you put out here. He says, I'm extremely impressed with the first 6. So like Dave, and this is something I was going to say for the Weekly Terry, but it's here, so I'm going to mention it now. There are a lot of screeners out.
Right.
They've been working hard. Terry and everybody have been working hard to get screeners out to as many media outlets as possible because they want the positive word of Picard out there because they know the show's good. Dave just said it right here. Extremely impressed with the first 6. We haven't been blowing smoke up your guys' asses. I'm telling you right now, Picard season 3 is going to be good. Everybody right now, there's still an embargo. Nobody can talk about any of the episodes until after the show airs. But everybody coming out with their initial comment is, it's great. It's a return to great Star Trek. Listen, guys, we've been telling you for 3 months. This is going to be a great show. You need to saddle up. It's going to be fantastic. And if you want more, so we're telling you it's great. You've hated the last couple of years of Star Trek, most of you guys, for Picard. Most of you have hated Star Trek Discovery, okay? If you want more great Star Trek coming in the future, we need more Terry Trek. Okay, we need Terry Matalas making this stuff. And unless the fans come out and get behind it and say how much they love it, there's not going to be any more Terry Trek.
Yep.
Okay.
And
so that just needs to be the way it's said.
Yeah, and we're gonna go right into the Weekly Terry, because you can't say all that and not just go right into the Weekly Terry.
This is why I've been holding it, but it's all tied together. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's why it's tough.
This is why, but the reason why this wasn't part of the Weekly Terry is because then we would have like 1-2 hour segment, bro. It has to be broken up.
Why not? That's what's important right now,
all right.
boys.
That being said, and by the way, Dave, Colin, man, I actually really enjoy your work. Okay, so if you ever want to be on one of our Picard panels, please email us or message us on Twitter or whatever, dude.
100%.
And I'm glad. And before we get into Weekly Terry, Dave Cohen was someone who was really hard on season 1 and season 2.
Yes, he was.
And he should have been. But seeing him change his opinion after seeing Picard season 3, this goes to show what kind of person he is. We need, and I told this to Mexican Iron Man, we go hard on all the people and all the shows that are horrible, right? We criticize them. We go hard on the stupid hot takes that celebrities have and all the ridiculous nonsense that goes on in Hollywood. We go hard. We need to go hard when it's done correctly too. We need to go hard every single time. If we're going to be hypercritical and hyper insane about ridiculous nonsense coming out of Hollywood, why don't we also be hyper, positive about the good stuff?
100%, dude. That's the way it's got to be.
For some reason, we always turn off our insane passion whenever something's good. We go, "Oh, that was good. We'll just not talk about it." Well, what the heck?
It's because positive stuff doesn't get clicks, bro. Let's be honest.
Yeah. So I love that. I love that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get to the Weekly Terry.
Real quick, super chat from Walrads. Thank you, Walrads. Good to see you here. Are the people who want Terry to fail for reasons we might not see, people perhaps even behind the scenes? I hope he has great success. What we can say is that we don't think that anybody wants Terry to fail, but let's just say that no one's convinced yet that his vision of Star Trek is the correct vision going forward. And I think they're going to need to see fan reaction to what Terry's created for Picard season 3 before they decide they might want to actually continue with his line. So as of right now, it's really up to us. If we come from behind it and everybody, all the fans are like, yes, this is the kind of Star Trek that we want, then we very will likely see more of him in the future. So, yeah, I hope. That's what it's going to take. Well, I'm telling you, it's going to be good. I think Kurtzman is going to be. Honestly, guys, I don't even know if Kurtzman sat down to watch the whole show yet. So, frankly speaking, okay, let's just be honest here for a second. I don't know. I can't confirm nor deny that, but I have a strong feeling he has not. So, it doesn't matter if he watches it or not, because he's going to listen to what other people tell him. Strange New Worlds exists because fans got crazy and they wanted more of Captain Daddy. Captain
Daddy.
Pike.
You know? Like, ooh, Daddy.
Right.
Let me get some taller hair, Daddy.
This is what I'm talking about. So you think you're not gonna be loving some Ed Spaliers and some 7 of 9?
Oh my God. I think I just lost Shane. Thank God I wasn't recording the Terry Trek yet. Oh, you're back. Dude.
I'm back.
Another thing I can't tell you guys about, but like there's this moment with Ed Spaliers that is just so absolutely badass that while I was reviewing it.
Don't say anything.
While I was reviewing it yesterday, this was my reaction. Oh, Yes. It's great. Yeah, listen, if it sucks, dude, and we're wrong, I mean, dude, let us know. Like, listen, if you guys give it a shot, like I know David Nunya, he's been here for a while, and he like just hates Picard. I get it. If you guys are just like, if you guys watch this and you actually give it a shot, the first couple episodes or whatever, and you go, Popcast guys are totally wrong. They're full of it. Like, come here and tell us. Come on the show and tell us why. Because we are in the same, we believe the same way you do about almost all the current new Trek stuff.
Are we doing the Weekly Terry right now or no?
We're about to, yeah.
Well, okay, so let's pitch that sucker because I want to say something that needs to be in the Weekly Terry. And that talks about directly what you're saying right there.
Okay, so listen, yeah, so I'm going to pitch that in. But remember, we're on the same page here. Okay, here we go. The Weekly Terry.
It's getting longer, dude. It's getting longer.
That's right.
You're giving people PTSD with that thing.
There was someone who was like, I can't see Terry's face anymore without hearing in the background, the Weekly Terry. I was like, I'm so sorry for what I've done.
No, it's a great segment. It's actually our favorite segment. If you came from the last, hopefully you came from the last clip where we talked about this, but you know, with Picard season 3, like imminent now with 2 weeks away, we've got the, coming up here really soon. We've got the premiere, which is next Thursday. So they're going to do the Chinese Grauman Theater premiere on the 10th, I guess it is, right? Yep. 9th. Then we've got the opening episode 1, which is coming out probably at midnight on Wednesday, the 15th, going into the 16th.
Right, because the embargo is 6 a.m., right?
Right, 6 a.m. Pacific, 6:30 a.m. Pacific time. Nobody can talk about it until after that for the first episode. So there's a lot of stuff getting ready to come that's happening. But we specifically wanted to talk about, you were talking earlier about, you know, people who are detracting, people who are saying that, you know, if this is going to be terrible. Overwhelmingly, people are saying who've actually seen the screeners that this is great Star Trek or return to great Star Trek. But you have people out there right now, and I'm just going to throw it out there. Doomcock's one of them, and Doomcock is going hard on Twitter.
He's going hard in the paint.
Hard on Twitter against Picard season 3. And here's the thing. I feel bad for him in a way because he hasn't seen it. So at least if he's going to talk that way on Twitter about how bad something is, at least he should have the guilt of having to know he's lying to himself, right? But he hasn't seen it yet, so he doesn't know.
Yeah, I was almost like, can we suggest to the screener people that they give Doomcock a screener? But I don't. They couldn't trust him not to leak it.
He would leak it.
Right.
There's no way you could give it to him, and because he has an agenda. His agenda is to destroy Star Trek in its current iteration.
Seems that way.
In hopes. No, it's not seems that way. He specifically said that his goal is to bring down Alex Kurtzman to create a new thing for Star Trek. Somebody else in charge.
It's definitely Alex Kurtzman, but you said Star Trek.
No, he wants to bring current Star Trek down.
Okay.
And replace it with somebody who's going to listen. You don't know what Picard season 3 is. You haven't seen it, but you're saying terrible things about it. So really should hold back on that. But here's the thing. If they're going to find bad things to say about the show, no matter what.
Sure.
He's going to watch it and he's going to find ways to criticize it. Now, let me tell you guys something. If you're expecting Picard season 3 to look like Star Trek: The Next Generation, it will not. It is not shot in that sort of lighting.
No.
It is not shot in the 80s, 90s style of TV. Okay. God forbid we didn't even have very good resolution back then compared to now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Don't forget the old 4:3 aspect ratio.
Right. It's going to be, so it's not going to look the same. And already I can see the beginning criticisms are like, it doesn't look the same. It's too dark. It doesn't look like TNG. Well, guess what? It's not going to look like TNG. What's important is the characters, the story. Okay. And it's shot in a style that's today. So if you're going to complain about it, that's going to be an empty complaint that it's not the same brightness as it was before.
Yeah, listen though, like, so that's a good point. let's talk about that. So, as someone who digests decades worth of movies and television for the channel and for ourselves, we have often put together videos where we are using footage from, like, say, Stargate SG-1 or Stargate the movie, Stargate SG-1, Atlantis, Universe. Every iteration of that Stargate has been a drastically different shot, cinematography, brightness, saturation. Every single one. Like, Atlantis and SG-1 were the closest to each other because they were the closest to each other chronologically. But you go back to the movie, and then you go to SG-1, completely different things. Universe and SG-1 are so far removed from each other as far as style that it's like watching a different TV show. And I'm not saying Universe was the best show. It had its problems, but, like, as time goes on, styles and cinematography and technology changes. People aren't going to be using 4:3 aspect ratio. They don't have to light their sets with a giant, huge overhead softbox in order to see everything, because their cameras are better now and they can pick up things in low light. So when directors want to get that perfect, epic, cinematic feel, they can do that with the right camera and with the right flood. They don't have to light the entire set anymore. This is not the 70s and 80s. It's not.
Right. So that's one of the big arguments already is from the trailers. They're saying it's dark. It's going to be a dark show. It's definitely it's not going to be a lighthearted TV show. That's not what it's about. And TNG, if you go back to all the Borg stuff, come on, was that lighthearted? No, it wasn't. It was just shot lighter. So that's not a good complaint. And about the idea of bringing Kurtzman down, okay, about the idea of basically trying to get him replaced. Guys, frankly speaking, the problem, as we've already said, isn't necessarily Kurtzman. The problem is the executives. There are no, and listen, I would like to suggest Robert Meyer Burnett a couple of days ago did this incredible monologue that breaks all of this down. And he sees it same way, eye to eye, as we do. So definitely go back and watch his video from a couple of days ago, where he basically says there are no Star Trek executives. Okay. In all of these other, whether it's Marvel, now DC, all of these other IPs, right? Even Star Wars now, there's an executive that's in charge of that content. So Paramount Plus doesn't have a Star Trek executive, somebody who's familiar with the history of Star Trek, the lore, a fan who cares about Star Trek. Okay. So because they don't have somebody like that, they're like, okay, look, let's make some money. So then they hire somebody like Alex Kurtzman because he wrote the 2009 Star Trek movie, right? With Robert Orsay.
Bad reboot. I'm sorry.
Right. And so he ends up coming in to help support, right, with Brian Fuller. Brian Fuller gets fired, so Kurtzman ends up with the job. That's how Kurtzman got the job. Kurtzman has said multiple times he's not a huge Star Trek fan. So guess what? He doesn't love Star Trek. You don't have an executive that loves Star Trek. So they start hiring showrunners that may or may not like Star Trek, but obviously aren't huge fans, until they hire Terry Matalas, who that's where he started. He started on Voyager. He started on Deep Space Nine, went into Enterprise. This is where he cut his teeth. Terry Matalas was a student at Emerson College and sent thousands and thousands of faxes to Hollywood to trying to get in as an intern at Star Trek.
Right. He wanted it so bad.
That's how he got his start. So listen, if you want to bring down Kurtzman, there's no guarantee they're going to replace him with somebody else, because we don't have an executive at Paramount who loves Star Trek. They just love money right now. So what we have to do is that's fine. Kurtzman, or they replace him with some other fool who doesn't care about Star Trek. The goal should not be to bring him down. The goal should be to prop up good Star Trek, prop up the good stuff. So after you see season 3, and if you want to listen to Doomcock and you have an agenda, all you might do is bring down Kurtzman to replace him with another Kurtzman.
Yeah, just another Kurtzman in the corner.
You might as well go with what you have as a win. You got good Star Trek with Terry Matalas. Just keep pressing it and get him to make more. Maybe eventually he becomes the Kevin Feige, the the James Gunn, the
Yeah.
maybe he
The Alex
becomes
Kurtzman. Maybe he just takes
Alex
Alex Kurtzman.
Kurtzman,
Yeah, give him
right?
Alex Kurtzman's job. Let's get
Right.
rid of Kurtzman and install Terry Matalas and call it a day.
And now you have somebody who cares about Trek on all levels, and every Star Trek show is worried about canon and story and not having a bunch of stupid writing that takes
nonsense,
you away from
right?
Yeah, this is what you want. So, anyways, you can see why we're behind it. We're tired of not having good Star Trek. We're sick of it.
Right.
Okay. And so Terry Trek. Okay. We're just gonna keep going.
Yeah. So. David Nunez says counterbalance Stacey Abrams. Yeah, that was a bad idea. They shouldn't have. That was one of the worst, most transparent, horrible things I have seen in a TV show ever.
Here, show me your politics.
Yeah,
showrunner.
Literally,
I mean, that's Michelle Paradise. I mean, she's got her own agenda. Everybody has their own agenda. Let's have an agenda from somebody who's a Star Trek fan. All they care about is Star Trek, making good Star Trek.
That's it.
That's what we do.
All right. So this is the Weekly Terry. So we're going to be going through a list of notable tweets. And as Shane said earlier, every early reaction I have seen has been rock solid. I have not seen a single real criticism so far to any of the early reactions for people and reviewers that got the first 6 episodes of the season. I feel bad for these people that they had to stop on episode 6.
I know, right?
We got to see the whole thing.
Can you imagine getting to 6 and then having to stop? That's crazy.
That's hard. All right. So this is the very first tweet we got here from Terry Matalas. He was answering someone who asked, anything TOS fans can look forward to in Picard Season 3. He said, I think so. Some will cry fan service. I think that stuff is organic to the world. Yeah, there's definitely a TOS stuff in there.
Yeah, the fan service thing. I mean, we do have a problem with fan service in Hollywood today. But I think in this situation, fan service is only a problem when it doesn't serve the story. And in this case, in Picard Season 3, it serves the story. It's there for a purpose. It's not just an Easter egg for you to go, oh, that's not why it's there. So I think that's what he's talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, it does work and is organic, I think. So that was the TOSTs. And then from Scott Matz, just watched the first 6 episodes of Season 3 of Star Trek Picard, and I'm completely blown away. So fun, action-packed, full of heart. This is everything to TNG fans. And I must say, this is the best acting I've seen from Jonathan Frakes as Riker.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is so true, man.
Yeah, someone said, Riker looks tired. I don't know, man. So maybe in the trailer, like that's the vibe you're getting. That's not the vibe in the series. That's all. I'll
tell you what, Jonathan Frakes lost weight. He got in a little bit of shape for this. Yeah, he was concerned doing this. He was like, he's a director now, guys. So putting the uniform back on, and you know what? It's revitalized him. I think he wants to do more.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
He did lose weight though. Like he trimmed up. He's like, all right, if I'm doing Riker, we're doing it right. Good for him.
Yeah. No, he really did.
Because I think in seasons 1 and 2, or seasons 1, I guess, it was pretty much just cameos. Like I think that's the way it was sold to him. Like these are cameos. You're gonna be making pizza with your buds, and like he didn't have to like worry about fitting into the old uniform.
Right. It wasn't a priority.
Right. So this was a really, really heartwarming early reaction. This is what Terry said. I got misty this morning reading the words in this month's SFX magazine. Thank you, Darren Scott. I'm so glad we can be here for you. Everyone else send the suspect message. Okay, so basically they sent early screeners to Darren Scott. And this is what Darren Scott said. This is why. My mom passed away just before Christmas. One of the few things that helped me get through December was having SFX to focus on, and funny enough, having access to the new episodes of Star Trek Picard to watch. When I tell you that not for 1 second was I dragged back to reality is no understatement. This is probably the best Star Trek I've ever seen. It's massive, it's epic, there's love, there's loss, and grief. I don't get to tell my mom about the new shows. I just know she'll love. So tap that communicator and send the subspace message to you've been putting off. Love and sci-fi to you. So they gave him early access because he couldn't make it to the screeners.
Wow, that's really sweet. I mean, and there you go. There's the heart and soul of it. I mean, these are Star Trek fans talking about how they feel about Picard season 3. So, yeah, if you don't trust us, just listen to everybody else.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time talking right now. Excuse me, 1 second.
Which story is this under? I can do some.
Weekly Terry and Honest Pop Culture. Just pop it up there. We're at the Eric Diggins, the NPR guy.
Yeah.
The one who didn't Terry said that your voice sounded like the guy from NPR?
Oh, I think so. Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. Eric Deggans at NPR. I've watched several episodes of Star Trek Picard's new season, and it is everything I hoped a reunion of next generation characters would be on an updated Paramount Plus Trek series. Fans will love it, and it's proof of the franchise's enduring strength. So that's more of what we've been saying, basically.
Yeah, I don't know about enduring strength. This is the best we've gotten for a while.
Well, yeah, enduring strength meaning, yeah, hopefully from old Trek to new Trek.
Right. And then one more early reaction from Phil Perillo. Having watched a lot of Picard Season 3, it's the best thing Star Trek has done in live action since First Contact in DS9. Pretty spot on. The emotional real estate usually reserved for main characters is spread out to everyone in ways you've never seen before. I wish I can get my first time back.
I feel the same way, man. I wish I could watch it for the first time again. You guys are so lucky. You're going to get to see it for the first time coming up. Just relish this when you guys get a chance to see it.
Okay, so those are the early reviews we pulled. There's a lot more, but we're not going to sit here and do early reviews for the rest of the time.
Oh, no, there's some Doomcock stuff.
But, yeah, I know. I'm trying to segue.
Oh, sorry.
So we showed you the good stuff. Now we're going to talk about the Doomcock stuff. This is what Doomcock said in reaction to the trailer. And remember, Doomcock has not seen it. As I said, folks, Picard Season 3 is just more... I'm not going to do his voice. Picard Season 3 is just more of the same woke bull SHIT. Only this time, they've reunited a bunch of TNG cast members to corrupt their characters just like they corrupted Picard. This is just another ploy to sugarcoat their wokeness and to con fans. Don't be fooled.
Well, he's never going to come on to debate it. But you know, what's really, I'm embarrassed for him because the show's going to come out for everybody. And it's not going to be woke because it's not. And trust me, we have no problem telling you what's woke and what's not woke in our opinion.
Yeah. Our opinions are never held back in that regard. Yeah.
Right.
I'm
so
always worried about possibly getting canceled.
So it's not woke. They've reunited a bunch of TNG cast members to corrupt their characters. Well, guess what? They don't corrupt the characters at all. In fact, if anything, the characters are better than they've ever been.
Yeah.
Okay. They're celebrated and they're more evolved. They're fully developed characters, probably for the first time. That's what's cool about it. Now, after 30 years, you thought you knew them, right? Now you just know them better.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it coincides with exactly who they were when they were younger as well. So it's all just wonderful. This is just another ploy to sugarcoat their wokeness to con fans. Don't be fooled. You know, if he wanted to make that argument for seasons 1 and seasons 2, I would say he necessarily wouldn't be wrong, especially for Discovery. But when it comes to Picard season 3, he just doesn't know. And putting this crap out here when you don't know is tantamount to it's just a huge mistake. I mean, you're not doing any service to your fans. You're giving them misinformation that is simply not true. You know, you can talk about what you think is going to happen, what you think might happen, but you can't just say that's what it is. I mean, in my opinion. Yeah.
So there was a tweet attached to that for some reason I can't see now. I think we were blocked by Jesse Earl.
It's No, we're not blocked by Jesse.
Yeah.
It came from Jesse, right?
Right, but for some reason I can't see it anymore.
I can tell you what the tweet was.
Right, that's what I'm trying to get to. Because I also think that Jesse Earl, might be reading a little too much into it, but whatever.
Well, not necessarily. See, everybody gets things for their own target. So she talks about in the no. What did she talk about in the trailer? Or did she talk about in?
She was talking about the series.
She saw the screeners, right?
She saw the screeners, and she was talking about the screeners, not the trailer.
So she kind of gave away more information than she should have.
Yeah.
She actually should not have been allowed to talk about it until after the embargo. So she actually kind of made a boo-boo there. And Doomcock tried to take advantage of it. And the real shame of it, of her putting this information out right now, is that we can't get any context of it because we can't say what it actually is that she knows or what she saw. But she basically says something to the effect that that 7 of 9, what do they call it?
Dead naming.
Dead naming. So that 7 of 9 deals with being dead named. I think that's what it was, right?
Yeah, but it is like, that is not what happened.
But no, that's what she said, right?
Right.
Okay. So Doomcock connected onto that going, oh, well, if they're doing dead naming in Star Trek, then obviously it's woke. That was the ammunition he used for this tweet.
Right.
The problem is that Jesse, the scene that she's talking about is not specific to what we have going on in culture right now with dead naming. It's not specific to that. Now, if you wanted to apply that reasoning to what happens in that scene, you can, because it's your own personal experience. And what you get from Star Trek sometimes is mirrored by your personal experience. And so maybe Jesse got dead naming from that scene with 7 of 9, but for you and I and the people who maybe don't connect with that sort of thing, it's just going to feel like a natural thing. And that's what I was trying to explain. I even tweeted back to Doomcock, hey, that's not what it is. It's not. You haven't seen it. You really should wait until February 16th.
Right.
And so
she definitely shared too much there. And I understand that it's being filtered through her personal experiences. Completely fine. There is, and that's cool, but there's no dead naming or whatever. That's not what's in there. Real quick, David Nyanga says, sending screeners and inviting YouTubers is like they're meaning wrong. Well, yeah, they were wrong.
Oh, no. No. Okay, so David, I'll give you a little piece of information.
Yeah, can you fix that? Because that's what I was about to bring up.
Don't see, this is what we're talking about putting out wrong information. Okay, so Star Trek isn't inviting a bunch of YouTubers.
Yeah.
Let me tell you who's inviting a bunch of YouTubers. Terry Matalas is.
Yeah, Terry Matalas. And Nerdrotic is coming partly because of us. So
essentially he's coming to the premiere because it's partly what we're doing.
Nerdrotic is our +1. Just a heads up. Nerdrotic
Gary is our
+1. We were able to get Nerdrotic in because we know Gary. He's a friend, and we had a +1, and that's why Gary is going.
And we think he's going to love Picard season 3. So he's coming out to the premiere.
And when Shane asked Gary if he wanted to go, Shane was like, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll come. So,
Gary's going to tell the truth, guys. This is what we love about Nerdrotic.
Yes, now, Paramount's a lot of people not reaching out to Nerdrotic saying, please like us. No,
right.
We got a +1 because of Terry, right? So Terry gave us +1, and we are bringing Nerdrotic as our +1 because our wives don't care about Star Trek.
Well, we got a +1 because some people get +1s to go to the show, not necessarily because of Terry.
Right.
Okay. We get a plus, sometimes you get to take a date with you. So we're bringing Nerdrotic. That's right. Because we think that Gary, once he sees it, is going to say what he truly believes. And if it's not good, Gary's going to say it's not good. But let me tell you what Gary's not going to do. Gary's not going to do what Doomcock's doing. And he's not going to say it's bad when it's not bad. Okay. He's just not going to do that. We've known him for too many years. He's going to tell the truth. He'll tell it from his perspective. Right.
Yeah, that's one thing we really appreciate about him. We appreciate that about Gary, is that even if his perspective is not always on the same vibe as ours, he does genuinely tell the truth. This is how he sees things, how he believes things. So, of course, we want to bring Nerdrotic. Of course, we want Nerdrotic to experience this so he can understand what we're seeing as early as possible.
And look, honestly, the more people who say that this version of Star Trek is good means potentially getting more Star Trek that's good. guys.
Right.
And also, just to answer this question here, Brian will be paying for dinner. So that's Brian's paying for the date.
I had to pay for dinner. That was the only way I can get Gary to come. So yeah, that's okay. Yorkshire. I want to see Brian, Shane, and Gary Lincoln Arms giving on the red carpet.
We'll do it.
We'll do it.
We'll do it.
Oh, the freaking Twitter poll. I totally expected it to be full Klingon cosplay. It wasn't.
What was it?
It was like classy. Everyone wants me just to dress like a normal, classy person.
You know why? Because they don't want you to embarrass us. That's what they're saying. They're like,
I am shocked at the same people that voted for me to get a lower back tattoo that they want me to dress in a tie and a suit.
Well, that's embarrassing you, but you're representing all of us out there, so you gotta look good.
Yeah, I'm wearing a blazer and a Terry Trick shirt. That's what the poll wanted me to do, and that's sort of what I want to do anyway. So
awesome. That's what I'm wearing. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm gonna wear my Popcast hat if I can freaking find it, bro.
I don't know if I'm gonna wear a hat. I'm definitely wearing the Terry Trek shirt.
No, I'm wearing my Popcast hat, not my Terry Trek. And you don't like hats, but I prefer hats.
Okay. So let's read this last Doomcock thing, and then if we got anything else for the Weekly Terry, we can move on.
All right.
Picard season 3 is basically a remake of Star Trek Nemesis, only in this case, Shinzon has more hair and less charm. A lot of pew-pew, ugly darkness characters explicitly saying, "Are these the same people you knew?" And the answer is, hell no, not even close. Skip this shit, folks. All right. I guess you get all that from the trailer.
How does it feel to make like a definitive statement on something that you've never seen? Have you ever tried doing that?
I mean, well, when your agenda's always been that way, of course you can.
Let's see.
You do that.
What movie have I not seen that was really popular? I haven't seen that movie yet with Giorgio, Michelle Yeoh. I started watching it with my wife, and then she fell asleep, so I turned it off. Right? So ready?
Oh, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Everything, Everyone. So if you've seen Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, I'm gonna make a definitive statement about this movie that I have not seen. Are you ready? This movie was horrible. Michelle Yeoh at one point transitions into an Apache helicopter and blows up an entire school, and I am tired of it. That's pretty much what I just heard. That's what I read.
Yeah,
from someone who's never seen it. And we've seen it. So we're like, no, it's definitely not a remake of Star Trek Nemesis. Shinzon has nothing to do with this character. Now, to be fair, their ships look similar. So I see how you can be drawing a comparison between the Shrike Shinzon ship and maybe the ship from 2009, the Romulan mining vessel.
He does get a little bit of, we do get some Vatic lines. So, I think that's what he's talking about here. But it's just, look, it's 10 seconds of 10 hours.
Right.
It's a one line. It's a one-off. You really can't, and you can't make a total assumption. He's not saying Picard season 3 looks like it's this. He says Picard season 3 is this. And, when you make definitive statements about things that you don't know anything about, then you might be definitively wrong.
Here's a little hint for you guys. In the trailer, Vatic says, "We will have vengeance." Notice she said, "We will have vengeance," not "I will have vengeance." You are watching a trailer where you are clearly not, of course, you're not going to be given the whole story. And there's a lot more to Vatic than what you're seeing there. There's a lot more to the story than what you're seeing there. And that's the only hint I can give you. We will have vengeance. We, plural, multiple people, not her, not just her. Okay.
Or maybe she's. It's also possible she's schizophrenic.
She could be completely.
Okay.
She's a schizophrenic.
I want to make sure.
Maybe random personalities emerge. Some are nice. Some are Klingon. Some are Orion slave girls. We don't know. Although everything we just said is obviously not the case because they wouldn't say it.
Let's add a little bit here. Do you have anything else for Weekly Terry?
No, it's 30-minute Weekly Terry. I thought I timed it pretty well.
You did really good, but we're going to add something that just came out from Den of Geek. Okay. So if you Den of Geek here, I will send the link over to Brian so he can put it up for all of you beautiful people.
Yeah, baby.
Den of Geek came out with a little thing here. It says here, Picard showrunner rejects fan complaints about new Star Trek series.
Uh-oh.
What is real Trek? Star Trek Picard showrunner Terry Matalas argues there's always been pushback from the fandom. Basically, Terry says, I remember when TNG wasn't real Trek, then DS9, then Voyager, then Enterprise. Remember the theme song Backlash? Now people have come around to that series. It is fantastic to be excited for a return to the old tone here, but there can and should be many different kinds of Trek. Okay.
Yeah. I know you're about to like go off on like a crazy rant, but can I just skip in here real quick? When DS9 first came out, I didn't like it. In fact, I didn't like it until it introduced Worf. And that's when I was able to get into it. When Enterprise came out, the very first time I heard that theme song, I thought it was the stupidest, cringiest, silliest thing I've ever heard in my life. I absolutely hated it. I was able to get past it and enjoy the characters and enjoy the story. When Voyager came out, the first episode, or the first 2 episodes, I should say, are horrible. The Caretaker episodes, you have to suspend so much disbelief on how they got there and why they stayed that it almost affects you mentally. Like, am I a crazy person? Because this makes no sense. But I stuck with it. It's my favorite series ever. It's my favorite series ever. And to be clear, TNG, the first season, was not very good. I don't care what anyone says.
Well,
it was not very good.
I couldn't stand Picard. I did not like having a bald captain. And Riker, I thought, was a cheap ripoff of William Shatner. And those were my exact feelings when I watched the first episode. And I'm like, I don't know about this.
Yes, it wasn't. I didn't like it. In fact, there's a term, growing the beard, because I don't think TNG got better until, and I agree with them, until Riker grew the beard in season 3. So yes, there's always, especially when there's a change, there's always going to be a change where it might be a negative change. But sometimes sticking with it is a payoff. Go ahead.
And in all fairness, and I appreciate what Terry's saying here, because what he's trying to do is he's trying to be inclusive, and he's right in a way that there can be many types of Star Trek. When there's only one Star Trek show on, like back then, when at the time it was Enterprise, and then DS9, and then Voyager, and some of them overlapped each other a little bit, right? And Enterprise was all by itself. Mm-hmm. Right now we have five, was it 5? Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we have 5 shows on, right? It's 4 or 5. 5 shows. We have 5 Star Trek shows on. 2 animations,
right? And 3.
And then we have Discovery, Picard, and Strange New Worlds.
Right.
Okay, so we've got 5 Star Trek shows. So what Terry's saying is that there can be many different types of Trek. So for example, Discovery, right? We were not happy. Discovery was the only thing that came out, and we weren't happy because we didn't like it.
And right? And we tried to like it.
We tried.
Just like the other shows that we didn't like initially or whatever. We tried. Discovery only got worse. It never got better. It literally only fell deeper and deeper into horribleness.
Right. But what I'm trying to say is, Terry, what I'm trying to say is, in this case, it wasn't the only show that we could watch. Eventually, Picard came out, and we hated that too.
Right.
So we started out, maybe that's possibly good, but then we eventually didn't like it either. So now we got 2 shows we don't like. Lower Decks was universally relatively liked. And both of the animated shows ended up being pretty good. But both live action shows weren't good. Then Strange New Worlds came out, and we were like, oh, okay, this is better. This is better Star Trek. Mm-hmm. Not great Star Trek, but better.
Daddy Pike.
Right. And now Picard season 3 is a return to the old. So what Terry's saying here is that there can be there should be many different types of Treks. There can be, I think, is the tone here. Discovery shouldn't stop being made if there's a whole fan base who likes Discovery.
Yeah,
okay, then more power to those people for liking it. It's just not our cup of tea.
Yeah, and I'm so glad. I'm glad that it's so far in the future. I don't even have to include it in our theory videos.
Don't break canon. Don't break Star Trek canon. Don't ruin characters that are legacy, but go ahead and keep making it if that's what you want to do. As long as there's Star Trek for us that love Star Trek for what it is. As long as that's there, I'm not going to complain that something else exists. So I just wanted to put out that he put that out there. And I think it's important to note that if you hear us saying like, we want Terry Trek, we want Picard season 3, this is the future of Trek that we want going forward. It doesn't mean that for the people that do enjoy other types of Star Trek, you can't have that as well. It just means there needs to be Star Trek for the old time fans. And this is kind of the direction we're going.
Yeah, for us legacy fans. And to be fair, there needs to be Star Trek that is actually continuing in the Prime timeline, as in continuing forward in the continuity of the Prime legacy, whatever you want to call it, timeline. If you want to make a side trek and go off into the past and hang out with Pike, or go off into the future and hang out in that dystopian nightmare place that is Discovery, then go ahead. But like, you need to continue the regular story, the actual Prime timeline story, and continue that continuity in some way.
And that is Picard season 3, guys.
Right.
So Picard season 3 catches up with current continuity. We really want a series that takes off where Picard season 3 leaves off in the timeline. I think it's critical to the success of future Star Trek and like kind of embracing what the core of Star Trek is by continuing to tell the story that started with TOS, went into TNG. It's the TNG Deep Space Nine Voyager story continued. Yeah. You know, and that's what Picard season 3 is really.
Yeah, Picard
1, 2, but 3.
No, Picard season 1 tried to continue the story. They fell on their face because of bad writing.
But it's in the timeline.
Right. Picard season 2 didn't even try to continue the story. They literally instantly went back in time.
That's true.
And stayed there. They didn't forward the timeline whatsoever. Right. Picard season 3 does, like drastically.
Yes. And it also sets up to continue the story in the current timeline.
Right.
And I think that's what's key. And hopefully that's what ends up being embraced.
Yeah, we hope. Yeah. We can only hope, folks. All right. And that said, that is the end of the Weekly Terry. If you liked this and you want to see more, please hit the subscribe button on the way to the comment section to let Shane know he's a shill.
That's it. If I'm going to be a shill, they should at least pay me.
Yeah, I keep telling everyone, I like, listen, guys, I'm getting called a shill a lot, and I don't have any paychecks to back that up. So
you know what? I'm going to accept.
Actually very poor. So can I get some shill payments here, please?
Let me tell you what I'm shilling for. I'm shilling for good Star Trek.
Well, you're simping because shilling is implying that you get paid for it.
Listen, man. All these new stupid words. Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm simping. All this other crap.
You're a Terry Matalas simp, bro.
I'm gonna be 50 years old this year, guys. Okay, so I don't know what the f simping means. I think it means like, to me, it means like an imp doing something bad. I don't know.
It's some like person with no girlfriend who gives money to e-girls online.
Oh,
that's what simp is.
That's kind of what I'm doing to Star Trek, I guess. Yeah. So only Star Trek that loves its history, its cult, and is moving forward to the future.
Here's the difference: a shill gets paid, a simp pays. That's really the difference.
Well, I'm not really paying anything.
Well, you do. You pay for Paramount Plus.
Well,
right? You put your reputation on the line, and for like 6 months, you've been saying how awesome Picard is. You're paying.
There's a cost. There's a cost.
Plus, I'm pretty sure Shane didn't have gray in his beard prior to Picard season 3 announcement.
That is true. That is true. And let me tell you something. But here's the deal. If Picard season 3 is great, everybody falls in love with it, and we get a renaissance of Star Trek shows after this because of the going out and doing what we're doing here, then F it. It's worth it. It's 100% worth it. Give me the gray. Give us more great Star Trek. I don't care.
Someone please go back and look at last year's show and tell me if Shane's beard was gray then.
Pull it up.
I'm pretty sure that Shane has literally gone full white in a period of less than a year.
Pull it up. Go ahead. Let's see.
I'm gonna pull this up, man.
I don't know. I don't really look at it.
Dude, it's like as soon as we started talking about Picard season 3, you just started getting grayer and grayer.
It's been a stressful year, bro. Okay,
that's all I can say. Very stressful year, that's for sure. Let me pull it up real quick.
I probably should not be this gray at 49, but I'm not 100% sure.
Damn, we've been doing this for oh my god, yeah, we started in 2021. So more than a year. At the end of 2021. Anyways. Oh yeah. So here we go. Here we go. Guys, this was
Well, I'm curious now.
Oh my God, bro.
Well, you don't get a lot of the goatee there, but yeah, you're right. It's
bro, it's almost a full white goatee now.
All right.
This is what Picard season 3 has done to you.
Has done to me.
And me. Yeah. And me. My hair is ridiculously long now. Jesus.
I notice you're not graying.
No, I'm fine. I'm completely fine. Yeah. I don't have any grays whatsoever. I'm doing good. Look at you, awesome. You poor bastard. Someone send this screenshot to Terry. Someone look at what Picard season 3 has done to my boy.
All right, thanks for that.
All right, thumbs up for. Please hit the thumbs up if you love Shane's new gray goatee.
That's right. Stacy says I like the gray. Shane, thank you. Appreciate it. Distinguished.
Right. That's
right. Thanks. Thanks, Old Yorkshire.
That's correct. All right, man. Let's move on here. Ooh, we get to talk about the Last of Us thing. You want to talk about that first, or James Gunn, Zachary Levy anti-Big Pharma thing?
Let's talk Last of Us, because I think that's probably bigger news. Well, I don't know.
Well, this is not really a clip, so we did want to address it. We started watching The Last of Us, and it's a great show.
You should clip it just in case, anyways.
Oh, okay. So we started watching The Last of Us. I played the game a while back. I wasn't watching the TV show. I was like, most video game adaptions for TV shows are pretty horrible. Most movie video game adaptions are pretty horrible. So I wasn't even going to try. I did sort of like Halo. Like there's parts where I liked. I didn't understand why everyone was up in arms about Halo. Like the game Halo has had so many weird storylines. Like what did you expect them to do in creating this universe? Of course, they're not going to be able to follow the convoluted spaghetti that is the Halo universe. But I can see people's point, how they didn't have, certain things weren't introduced, and he took his helmet off, whatever. But I wasn't even going to give The Last of Us a shot because I've been burned so many times by adaptions of video games that I wasn't going to waste my time. Plus, it looked really dark. The little girl, the actress, sort of annoys me a little bit. And unlike apparently everyone else, Daddy Pedro Pascal is like, I'm not a huge fan of his like everyone else is.
I am. I like him.
I know. Everyone loves Daddy Pascal.
So, it's not because he's a daddy. It's weird.
He is a daddy,
the whole daddy word is weird stuff. By the way, I
saw
it. Listen, we're gonna talk with Todd Stashwick next week, right?
Right.
And we put out that picture when he came out on the trailer for Picard season 3. We finally were able to like talk about him, and I put up this picture of him on Twitter.
Right.
And I don't know which one of you guys it was, but somebody just wrote in giant capital letters, "Now that's a daddy!" in exclamation. I have to look this man in the face on Monday. Okay. And all I'm thinking of is him being some sort of sexualized daddy. Okay.
He's a daddy.
And no, so Pedro Pascal is not in that way to me.
No,
I think he's great in The Mandalorian.
But he is a daddy. He's the definition of a daddy.
Okay. I guess I don't get it. What is it like? What you explain what a daddy is?
It's just a handsome older man. Like you're reading too much into it. All right. So
sounds dirty.
I wasn't going to watch it. Now Shane goes, Brian, you have to watch this because I want to make a video about it. I'm like, oh, don't do this to me. Don't, Shane.
I forced you. I rarely get to force him.
Don't do it because I always get to tell him what he should watch.
Yes.
So when he says, I need you to watch this, I sort of have to because he always follows my suggestions with very little hesitancy. So, I put it on. Bro. First episode, absolute fire. One of the best adaptation for a TV series I have ever seen. There were so many moments. Yeah, I'm sorry, adaptations of a game. So many moments where I was like, that's from the game. That's from the game. I was doing that thing Leonardo DiCaprio does. Like, yeah, I recognize that. Like the tourniquet and so many parts. Even like that. Even in the very last episode, that scene with the window is literally the loading screen. It's literally the loading screen of the game. So I'm like blown away. Episode 2, blown away. Episode 3, it starts, and I'm like, oh, I love Nick Offerman. Like no puns intended here. I would have that man's babies. Okay.
Well, you might be able to now.
Yeah. And then we find out the characters, which was a really cool character, super cool. And he's like surviving on his own and stuff. No spoilers, but awesome character. I literally told Shane, it's like Ron Swanson from Parks and Recs survived.
That's what I thought when I first
The
saw
Last
him.
of Us. It's like he literally is playing his Ron Swanson character. Even in the very beginning, when he's hiding in the basement, he's like such a libertarian, you know. And then the gay stuff goes on. He meets someone, he falls in love, they have sex. It's really uncomfortable to me.
Well, before we talk about that, before we go into that portion of it, can we just talk about the fact that the idea for The Last of Us is so unique, and I think what makes it work. And there's tons of zombie stuff out there. There's tons of it. Like, it's kind of like an overplayed trope at this point. But The Last of Us does it differently. Like, it's a fungus. It's like a mind control thing. The zombies are different than you've ever seen before. And the way the dystopian future is, there's a government in control. It's a totally different way of looking at doing a dystopian future. And I think what makes it interesting is it's usually the world, and I think that has a big part to do with it. But the transition that that Pedro Pascal makes as the main character, the transition from the character he was, because it starts out in 2003. It kind of bounces around in time a little bit. It actually starts out in 1960 something, but then it ends up in 2023, which is present time, our current time.
And it starts off in 1963 or whatever with 3 Stargate alums, I might add.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
The 3 characters on stage are all Stargate actors. Like, when it started, I was like, oh, Shane knows me.
Yeah, yeah. There. Well, that's not why I picked him, but yeah.
I know, but it was literally 3 Stargate actors in the same frame. Sorry, go ahead.
So I watched it, and I'm like, oh, this is a really cool idea. And then it went to the future. It bounced around. It did some weird things, and you really didn't know how it worked. Episode 1 was fantastic. Episode 2, fantastic. Episode 3. And I realized, I'm like, it's not just us. I all of a sudden started to realize this was starting to come into the zeitgeist of culture. I got when my kids start like texting me, Dad, what's the login for HBO Max? Like, I'm like, why? Why do you want to watch HBO Max? And they're like, and I have adult children.
Yeah.
They're like, I want to watch.
Thank you for clarifying that. Like, is your 9-year-old asking for the HBO Max login?
They're not going to be watching this. That's for sure. But my adult children, of course, if they want to. So, and all of a sudden it's coming up everywhere. I'm like, okay, now this is going to be a thing. What you need to understand about this is that the guy who wrote the video game, Neil Druckmann, also wrote the series. So that's why you're getting all the things you're talking about the game being so close, right? Which is the way they should always do it. If you have a great game, let them write the darn show, or at least get some help if they don't exactly know how to do it. But
the electrical tape tourniquet or brace or whatever. I was like, right there.
Right.
In episode 2, him kneeling behind the cabinets and all that was like directly taken from the game. Like the game is so prevalent, but the way it's shot is still like cinematic. It's really well done.
And you're going to have some spoilers here, so I apologize if you guys haven't seen it yet. You might want to dip out while we go into some of this, because we've already spoiled. No
hard spoilers. Like, well, I guess there's going to be hard spoilers. I guess
it's going to be some hard spoilers. But we're not going to review the whole thing. We just want to talk a little bit about what's happening here, because it's going to keep you on the edge of your seats. There's just a whole lot of things, like how the monetary system works in this dystopian future, how the relationship with the government and other people, the people who are fighting against, because the government's got these people locked up. Like, you don't have a choice. You have to stay in these QZs. Right. You can't just go out in the world and hang. The government doesn't let you do that.
You have COVID. You can't leave your house.
It kind of like that. And because if you go out there and you get caught, it's not just a matter of like, oh, well, there's another zombie running around the world. It creates this network of zombies that can find you like a mile away. If you touch their little strand, they're connected to ones that are a mile away that'll just run right to where you're at. Right. It's really freaky. And the way you know, the whole
these are not your daddy-o's zombies. These are
not your these are new types of
And the best part about it is these actually make sense on like a scientific level. These aren't just magic zombie creatures. They make sense. Like the whole thing makes complete sense. This is the definition of science fiction.
Yeah, it is science fiction, and it's based on actually an actual hype thing. We won't go deep into it, but funguses basically being able to have some mind control. There's like some ants that fungus can have mind control over. We won't go deep into it because maybe there's something in the future about that. But the bottom line is the show's really being watched well. There's only 3 episodes. The 4th one comes out this week. But episode 3 got got even more visibility. And the show came to the world stage on episode 3 because there's a bit of a controversy. So if you play the game, and Brian's played the game, I have not, but from what I understand from just going deep into this and looking at it, there were some subtle hints that the character, let me get his name to make sure I got it right, because there's two gentlemen here, the 2 gay guys. Bill. So Bill has a partner in the game, right? Was it Dave? Is that the other guy?
I don't remember.
Okay. Anyways, I got to find
it
here.
Bill was the important character in the game.
Bill was the important character in the game. Well, come to find out, apparently, Bill was gay in the game. So it's not overt. And if you're not looking for it, you really may not notice it. But apparently there's a couple of things that happen inside the game that you can find out about. I guess the girl finds some sort of nudie book with a bunch of naked guys in it is one of them. And then he keeps referring to this other guy as his partner. So there's apparently some gay overtones. But episode 3, they really uncorked that from the game and came full force with the gay relationship between the 2 characters.
Yeah, and what? Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, so playing the game, I didn't know that the character was gay. I actually thought that they were brothers, the 2 characters.
Oh yes, that's right.
He was referring to his brother. So
and thank you. The name's Frank. Thank you guys for sharing that.
In my mind, I was like, oh, these 2 characters are like me and Shane existing in the afterlife. I mean, in the dystopian future. In hindsight.
And actually, I got to tell you now, I love what you just said right there, because that's kind of how it felt. So the line is going to be drawn for people who have a really hard time with seeing a gay sex scene on television. Okay. And so everybody's going to have a different reaction to it. So I just want to be real honest here. I want to be real honest.
Just so you guys know, though, there is a button that will just skip 10 seconds. So like if you don't want to watch,
what?
There's a button on your remote that can skip 10 seconds. And on streaming services,
of course,
you can just fast forward 10 seconds past the gay sex, you know?
Well, even if, but beyond that. Okay. So everybody has their own opinion. There's still a societal judgment on homosexuality, whether you're a devout religious person. You got religions that say it's bad. You've got all kinds of different things. I'll tell you from my purview. Okay, what I've known a lot of gay people, and so it's a normal part of society, from my opinion, from my place. That said, it's kind of uncomfortable to see a sex scene with 2 big bearded guys, belly to belly.
Hairy bearded guys, belly to belly.
For exactly the same reason Brian just said. So when you watch a love scene, from whatever perspective you are, if you're a straight man, or if you're a gay man, or a straight girl, gay, whatever your persuasion is, when you watch a sex scene, if I'm watching it between a man and a woman, then I might see it as potentially sexual, or it might be romantic to me. Then I'm kind of engaged, and it seems normal, natural, and I'm kind of like, okay, cool.
Okay.
Right.
I don't want to be a prude here, but even when my kids aren't watching, no matter what, whenever there's a sex scene in the movie or TV, and this is weird, maybe this is just me, I usually hit that 10 seconds forward mark.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't. So, I mean, it depends.
It's not me being a prude. It's just like, oh, this has no bearing on the story for me.
All right. Well, let me. So,
And I don't want my wife to walk in and see me like watching some like Black Swan sex scene. I'm like, it's not what
now
you
that's
think,
a
babe.
better reason. That'll
it's not
get
what
you in trouble.
Think.
That's a better reason. But wait, you
I
totally
like the
took me out of.
story. Sorry, go ahead.
You totally took me out of my line. This is really important what I'm saying here. Okay, really important because I think a lot of people. So some people are going to watch this, and if you're maybe a straight dude, you're going to watch it and go and feel uncomfortable. You're going to watch it. You're going to see these two bearded guys under the sheets, being very, very intimate as you would any couple who really like each other.
Yep, beard to beard.
And you're going to feel awkward probably. Now, there are some gay people who are going to say that means you're homophobic. Okay?
No.
And now here's what I'll say. If you're gay and you say that, you don't really know because you're gay. So that's what you think. You think of that. You don't know what it feels like to not be heterosexual, to be heterosexual. So you don't understand the feeling. Let me describe it to you. Brian just did. Right. Imagine me and Brian having sex together. See how disgusting that sounds? Now, because we're brothers, that's just off the table.
Just beard to beard, full belly contact.
Right. Right. That's off the table.
And I look at Shannon and go, I want you to know I'm not a whore.
Okay, stop. Because you're right. Now listen. Okay, but here's the deal. I don't want to know about my parents having sex. Listen, I don't want to know about my parents having sex. It makes me, it's gross. I don't want to hear about my siblings. I don't want to hear about my kids. It's gross. Okay. The idea of having sex with another man to me is gross because I'm heterosexual. Right. So what I'm trying to say is it's okay to feel that way and not be homophobic. Okay. I like gay people just same as I like regular people, or not gay people or non-gay people. I guess it sounded terrible the way I said that. But what I'm trying to say is there's no difference when I'm talking to somebody on what their sexuality is.
I told Shane there was like doing this story is like a lose-lose for us.
Well, I get it, but I wanted to listen. I wanted to have an honest moment here because I think there's a big misunderstanding that I think that when people complain about a gay sex scene, a gay scene in a movie, they're like, well, that means they're homophobic. I don't think that's necessarily the case always. Maybe sometimes, but I think sometimes it's just a matter of that is not attractive to me and it's uncomfortable and therefore I don't want to watch it. Okay. So now that said,
right.
If you get through that scene, you start to see this relationship develop. Okay. And all of a sudden you like recognize this relationship the same as you would any two people who care about each other.
Yes.
It grows into something that's actually quite beautiful.
Right.
And by the end of the episode, you have, you're generally your discomfort in the beginning goes away. And then it's just becomes this kind of really sad story, happy yet sad. It's kind of complicated, but it really resulted in what I think is probably one of the best episodes of TV I've seen in a long time.
Yeah. I have one major criticism. And someone said this earlier. They killed this. That's basically killing off Bill. We got his kid. We got his story.
That's true.
And they basically killed him off. We didn't get his interactions with Ellie. We could have gotten more of that character. But they showed us his beginning to end all in one shot. It was one episode. Yeah, that's not right. That sucked. And it was definitely counter to what the game is. I'm not gonna be like some purist to the game and be like, that's not in the game. But it was a beautiful episode. It was great. Nick Offerman deserves an award.
His acting was incredible.
The gay sex definitely didn't, it definitely made me uncomfortable. But I was still able to enjoy the episode. My biggest criticism is not the gay stuff and changing the character or not. It's more so that I felt like you had this awesome character that you can now no longer utilize. And we didn't get to see Bill and Ellie's dialogue together.
That's a good point. And I think they're going to plan on moving on with those characters. And the reason why Bill may not stick around, Bill may not be critical to the storyline is because I think they're going to keep moving past what Bill can offer the story.
Right.
Because he doesn't go with them. But what I think what's important we need to say here is that there are some people out there who are going to say that the real problem with this isn't the fact that there's gay characters in it, but that it was used as an opportunity to push an agenda. So I think that's kind of what the big complaint will be, is like, well, wait a second, the characters weren't this gay in the story. You could barely tell. Why are we pushing this agenda forward? And that's a really fair question. Now, it's possible, very possible, that that's exactly what happened here, that there was an opportunity to show a gay couple in a situation.
Oh, I just lost Shane. Or was it me? Did you lose me? I don't know. You guys talk. See if you can. I can still hear you. While Shane is fixing his internet, we do have a super chat from Joe Cronin. Let's get Braga and Berman and Terry to work together on a Star Trek: The Next Generation, the new generation. Yeah, that'd be great. I think Braga and Berman, or at least definitely Berman. I see you, Shane. I see you, bro. I see you there. You don't gotta call me. Can you hear me, buddy? Can you hear me? Here, let me fix this with Shane real quick. Shane.
Well, anyways, I can't see it. If we're still here, I'm just going to keep talking.
Yeah, we're still here, bud. How can he not see it? All right. Shane? We're still here. He's just calling me over.
Am I back?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me, bro? All right. Let me call Shane real quick. This is embarrassing. The thing about Brandon Berman doesn't want to do any more Star Trek. He was done after Enterprise. I think he left at like Enterprise season 2, and another guy took over. Okay, thanks. Another guy took over for the last season of that, and that's why that last season was so damn good, because it was this really hyper virile, really passionate guy that was heading up Enterprise, and it still got canceled because at the time Les Moonves basically hated Star Trek. Can you hear me, bro?
Yeah, so I got to tell you guys, I thought that the stream got pulled down because of what we were talking about. Because everything went blank for me. My computer didn't freeze, but I got dropped from it.
I was actually worried about that for a second too, but I checked.
Yeah, so it wasn't that. It was just my stuff. Okay.
Yes, Manny Cotto. Thank you. Manny Cotto took over at last, and so I don't think Berman and Braga are getting back together for that, guys. But you know what? A Manny Cotto, Terry Matalas crossover, team up will be great.
But I can say something about Braga that I think is important, because a lot of people took a big poop on not Braga, on Berman era Star Trek. Star Trek needs a Berman. Right. That's what they need right now. Berman held on to Gene's vision as much as possible. Star Trek needs someone like that. So that's kind of we were talking about executives earlier. That's what's missing from Star Trek right now.
Yeah, it's missing. Yeah, it's I hate to use Kevin Feige as a verb, but it's missing a Kevin Feige.
When you make billions of dollars and the fans happy, yeah, during phase 3, absolutely.
Yeah, during phase 3. Yeah, I like how you had to throw that disclaimer in there, because it's not great right now.
So what was I in the middle of saying when I came down? Because I thought it was important.
You were saying that it's okay to be uncomfortable with it, but rage hating it just because it was
the agendas. Yeah. So there might be an agenda. I mean, there is obviously a Hollywood agenda to incorporate, to normalize, the
everything. Let's just say everything.
To normalize things that are outliers, like being like the LGBTQ community. The reality is that, between 5 and 8% of the population is identifies as that. And so there is that is a small race group number, honestly. I mean, I think African Americans are like 8 to 10% of the American census of the population. And so when you start to think about that, then these are a group of people who want to, be more engaged. And I think because the video game had Bill as a gay character, I think that the same guy who wrote the game wrote the show.
Yeah.
Decided to take this opportunity to do it. So I think they may be right. There probably is an agenda here to do it. And I think that you're going to probably see more of this in Hollywood. But in reality, the episode was done so well that at least for me, when it was over, I thought I just saw an incredible episode of television. So
yeah, it was like a little movie. Yeah, here's the thing. There is an agenda, and there is a valid complaint here too about you have like the LGBT outliers, as Shane's referring to, do make up 4 to 5%, right? A lot of these people talk about equal representation in these TV shows and movies, but then they flood them with 4% of the population. So
now like if we have a bunch of more gay characters in the show, then it's going to feel wrong to me.
Right, and
because
Discovery did that, where it was like
yes,
97% of the entire cast was LGBT, and like that don't make no sense.
So right now it doesn't feel like an agenda because it's been one couple. Now if it continues everywhere they go, that everybody's got a partner, then obviously okay, now we're going to raise the BS flag and we're going to be like, okay, now you've given up storytelling for your agenda. This show hasn't given up the storytelling for their agenda so far. And so we'll have to wait and see what comes in future episodes.
I agree. Yeah. And the thing for us, the story is when it comes to telling us, I'm sorry, maybe this is a controversial take. When it comes to telling a story, that is the most important thing.
Yes. The story is the most important thing.
Your agenda, your ideas, your
not as important.
What you want people to believe, your political beliefs, not important.
100%.
The most important thing is doing exactly what the point of your job is to tell a story. And so far they're doing great. I liked it.
Yeah. Super chat here from the Joe Cronin show. Hire me, Terry. I am ready.
Yeah.
All right. Right, Joe? Right?
Dude, Joe is another person we should consider putting on our Picard panel at some point in a few months.
All right. Yeah. Stay in touch with us, Joe. Hit us up on Twitter. We'll try to get you on board.
Tweet us. Slide into our DMs.
So Mike Madrelli gave us a $3. Is this a super sticker?
It's a super sticker. That's a new thing, right? I saw last week there was a super sticker too.
We have not seen many of these things. I think we just got that approved. So thank you, Mike. Appreciate the super sticker. That's fantastic.
And the sticker is I don't know what this is. What is this thing? Is it a pear?
I don't know, but it's given some love.
It's a pear, and I think it's doing something sexual to Shane right there.
No, it's just giving some love, dude. Okay, it's giving a kiss or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. It's just saying, hey, thank you. I love you. I love you too. We love you too, Mike. Stop messing with me, Brian.
Yeah, Josh Temple said, but they had rep with Ellie, and they took Bill and made it about stuff not in the game. And they killed the character that's still living. Why would they? Yeah. Yes. And I have the same problem, Josh.
Yeah. Those are some of the issues, but
Bill should still be alive. And they did miss a massive opportunity to have Bill and Ellie interact. Again,
which is crucial because, and I haven't played the game, so forgive me, but why is it crucial that Bill and Ellie interact?
Some of the most heartwarming stuff in the game. It's like it really evolves the character of Ellie. So Ellie right now is sort of a wet blanket, right? Like we need her to be evolved. We need her character to be sussed out and added onto. Bill is a huge part of that in the game.
Is Joel going to play that role? Is he going to be more of the?
Who else can at this point?
It looks like that's where it's going,
right?
And it makes sense, especially because of his daughter in the beginning. Like he lost hope. He kind of lost what he had when he lost his daughter, and now he's become a different person. So maybe they're going to help build each other up. Maybe that's the point.
Perhaps, yeah. Joel's character didn't require anyone else like his, because you were looking at him through the game.
Got it.
He was you. You were experiencing his.
Okay, that's a really good point because now Joel is not us. Joel is a character that has
in the
to
beginning.
Be
Yeah. So eventually it becomes like you're helping, like the two characters help each other in the game. It's really hard to explain. Actually, the game is not like a typical shooter or whatever. It's like it's definitely unique to its credit. But Bill is a big part of that. Bill is really a great part of the game, and it really does suck that we get. I guess I can say at least we got this one episode. Because Bill was a badass, dude.
Yeah, and it was a great episode. But it would have been interesting if he would have survived. I am disappointed that he didn't survive at the end of this. I mean, I get I got nothing to live for. I can get that love and that feeling for somebody that you care about. I mean, I would be a mess if I lost my wife,
I also think they should have invited more people to stay at their compound.
Well, I'll tell you, I think the show probably would have been richer if you take Bill's, if you take his grief into the show, into future episodes, and if he becomes part of a party that continues on. So I think they probably missed an opportunity. Even as great as the episode was, I think they missed an opportunity to grow the shows and grow the show emotionally by having his now experience in life and actually, carrying that through with the other characters. So you're probably right. It's a missed opportunity. It's like, you can't have both things. So
yeah, I get that. Super chat from Joe Kernan. Thank you, Joe. I'm banned on Twitter, but I'll make a dummy one and reach out. My 36,000 followers are dead. Yeah, hit us, man. Or hit the email we put in the earlier in the video in the stream.
Yeah, or you can see it on our YouTube page. If you
you
click on
the YouTube page, go to contact, you'll see it too.
It gives it, yeah.
And somehow get a hold of us. All right. That's it about this. Let us know what you guys think about this in the comment section. All right, I didn't expect us to talk about that long. That was interesting.
I thought it was. See what I was saying? I knew that was going to be good. Was it worth it? Do you think we, lose, or did we win on that one?
I don't think we win.
I don't think. No, I think people appreciate the honest perspective.
I mean, people appreciate the honest perspective, but there's also insane people out there that are going to be like, they're homophobic.
I ain't afraid of
racist or sexist or.
I ain't afraid of insane people.
I mean, I guess the same insane people can just look at you and be like, "That's a white guy. He's evil." Right off the bat.
Obviously, I'm already evil.
He's clearly an evil white man. That's why I identify as a non-binary member of the Latinx community.
I didn't get all that, but go ahead.
Yeah, non-binary member of the Latinx community. Which
what
means
is Latinx?
I'm untouchable.
What is Latinx?
It's a stupid way of saying Latino.
Oh, where did the X come from?
I don't know. I don't know why people do this. And as someone who is part of the Latin culture to a degree, my wife is Hispanic, all my friends are. Every time I ask them all the time, how do you guys feel about this Latinx thing? They're like, it's stupid. We don't understand it. In fact, if anything, it's trying to lump every Latin culture into one group, which is even more offensive. It's like, imagine if you said, you're Asian X, and every person that looks Asian is part of the Asian community. Japanese, Chinese, Mongolian, Vietnamese, Korean. No. We're going to strip away your unique identifier, and we're going to put you in one giant pile. When you say Latinx, you are basically taking every Latin country, Portugal, Spain, BS. Brazil, Mexico, Guatemala. You take all the Latin countries.
You say Latin. Why do you gotta say Latin X? Just say Latin.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why they say that. It's taking every one of those unique things and it's putting them in one umbrella, and they think that is progressive. No, that's regressive, dude. It's regressive. So stop doing it.
I agree with that.
Or do what you want. I don't care. I'm not your boss.
Or do whatever the hell you want. Exactly. Yeah. We're kind of more on that side, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I just think it's dumb. And I'm not going to try to cancel you over it, but it's dumb. All right, man. We're going to talk about, this is going to be fun. If we weren't canceled last clip, we might get canceled this one. And Shane just left. Shane was like, I don't want any of this problems. I'm gonna split. Shane's fixing his computer or something. Second I said we're gonna cancel, he splits. All right, let's talk about what we're gonna be talking about while he's fixing his stuff. We're gonna talk about the Zachary Levy anti-vax stuff. People are definitely equating Zachary Levy to anti-vax. That's not what he said. And even if he were, who cares? But we're going to be talking about that because James Gunn actually responds to the Zachary Levy controversy. And there's an interesting thing that James says that I agree with. And we want to talk about some of the horrible garbage people that have been tweeting Zachary Levy about his stance on Big Pharma. After that, we're going to be talking about the James Gunn DCU announcement, a lot of DCU stuff for the next two topics, and then Strange New Worlds, Quantum Leap, and Ezra Miller. So let me just get Shane on the horn real quick and see if he's okay. I think Shane got canceled in real time. Shane, have you been canceled? Did they cancel you? I don't know, man. I just split. All right. All right, we'll wait for him for a few minutes, and then we'll move on if he doesn't show up. Yeah, who would have thought everyone would go from questioning government to backing big pharmaceutical companies? Yeah. It's very odd. White knighting for the $1 billion big pharma. Don't get it. I do not understand it. We are definitely going to yeah, Jeremy. My wife was so pissed because I was like at 3 a.m. I was like screaming. I don't know if you recall that. I was making so much noise at like 3 or 4 a.m, and people were waking up, but they were cool enough not to come into my little studio. But right afterwards, I got yelled at. Literally right afterwards. Something's going on with Shane. Oh, he's messaging me. Come on, buddy. What you got, man? Oh. So some guy at his house just tripped over the internet in his house. All right. He'll be right back. All right, so Shane's coming back. Let's talk about you guys while he's coming back, because he doesn't want to miss this story. You met Zachary Levy in person? That's rad. My first introduction to Levy was a show called Chuck. Oh, man, I love that show so much. I'm actually getting to watch it with my kids right now. We're going to finish Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and then finish Chuck. So I'm in heaven when it comes to like being able to experience stuff with my younger ones. I showed them a couple episodes of Chuck and they were totally hooked. So Chuck's one of my favorite shows. And I gotta be honest, I think that his casting was perfect. Like, he is the perfect actor to play Shazam. Look at his hat. Perfect actor for Shazam, in my opinion. I think he's a nice guy. I think he's a reasonable dude. I think he has a good head on his shoulders. And I think he's a really fun actor. So, overall, everything about Zachary Levy is rock and roll for me. Thoughts on the Halo show? Yeah, the Halo show started off really strong. And it faltered toward the end. But I think that a lot of the criticisms people had for the Halo show was just sort of off. They were saying that, they're not following the storyline from the movie, from the game. The problem is, the game didn't follow a single storyline. Like, every game was like sort of a hodgepodge of stories. In reality, the Halo storyline was such a mismatch. I can totally see them having to consolidate some of those storylines in order to make the show. However, that doesn't forgive the fact that the show definitely fell on its ass toward the end of the first season. Can it be good? It can, and it started strong, but it certainly didn't end strong. That's for sure. And Shane should be back here. Welcome back, Shane.
Can't catch a break today, man. Cannot catch a break. I got somebody move the darn internet.
It was so funny. It was right after I said, like, if that didn't cancel us, this will. You just noped out.
It's driving me crazy. I keep thinking our stream's going to get brought down. It's happened in the past. So,
Dude, Mike Martindale said, nope. Shane's like, nope, I'm done. I'm leaving.
So where are we at? What are we talking about?
Yeah, and Jeremy, you're right. If you didn't play Halo, you're probably going to like the show more. And I do believe that they did a really good job in the beginning of the show, and toward the end it got messy. But if we're being fair, that sounds exactly like what the games do. Because the game storylines are all over the place. Like, oh, really cool premise. Oh, Halo, Alien, blah, blah, blah. And then like, oh, what's still happening? Oh, that, what? Storylines all over the place. So, I mean, they're pretty much mimicking the game in that regard. After this, you're uninvited to the Trek premiere. I'm sure.
It's possible. It's possible.
All right, man.
I mean, if giving an honest take gets you in trouble, then and you're being kind of reasonable, then I don't know what to tell you. Then we've lost hope for civilization.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm pulling up this Zachary Levy thing real quick because I really want to talk about this.
Oh, something else to get us in trouble.
Yeah, something else gets canceled. And I also get I'm gonna give Grace Randolph the business this time.
Oh, all right. Well, she deserves it sometimes.
Yeah. Hold on for this one, boys, because Grace bothers me so much. All right. Let me just pull this up. All right, here we go. Okay. So we are talking about Zachary Levy, the actor that plays Shazam in the upcoming Shazam 2 movie, as a big part of the DCU. Shay and I both enjoyed the first Shazam movie very much so, and I have been a Zachary Levy fan since the TV show Chuck. I think he was possibly the perfect casting for Shazam, and really enjoyed everything he did. Now, on that note, recently he tweeted, and a lot of the times when actors tweet, it's not going to go well, right? Except for he didn't tweet a political rant or some kind of hate thing about some other people he doesn't agree with. No. Someone said, do you agree or not that Pfizer is a real danger to the world? Pfizer being the pharmaceutical company Pfizer. The $1 trillion pharmaceutical company Pfizer. Zachary Levy said, hardcore agree. Is that a weird stance? Is that a controversial stance to take? That you think that Pfizer, the $1 trillion pharmaceutical company, is probably a negative thing, is a danger on the planet? Is that a
wow? In this climate, yeah. I mean, unfortunately, when you say, I mean, Pfizer is synonymous with what? COVID,
right?
Inoculations. That's it.
So people lost their minds.
Right.
I love this. You are not as talented as Letitia Wright for me to move past this. No wonder The Rock didn't think you're... All right. So first off, we actually tweeted. I tweeted this. I will protect thee, my lady. Why are you white knighting for Pfizer? Are we at...
Who is it?
Somebody just criticizing him for agreeing that Pfizer is a problem. Why are people white knighting for the $1 trillion company, pharmaceutical
well, they're not.
company?
They're not white knighting for the pharmaceutical company. They're white knighting for vaccines. So of course, vaccines and anti-vax has become a political thing. So if you're on the left, you are for vaccines. And if you're on the right, apparently you're not for vaccines. At least that's the way it's been delineated. Now that's 100% not true in any way, shape, or form. I think people on both sides can have feelings about both, but it's been delineated that way. So anytime you have somebody who talks out against Pfizer or vaccines, then you have this group of people, generally I believe on the left, who come out hard against it because it's a political thing. It has nothing to do with societal. I mean, frankly speaking, Like, what do you think the big concern is if somebody doesn't get vaccinated?
First
They're
off,
going to give it to other people, right?
Zachary Levy didn't say a thing about vaccines.
I understand. And I get what you're saying. And that's been the point that's brought about this the whole time. But we know on a deeper level why they're saying the things they're saying. We know why they're saying it, because they automatically assume that if you're anti-Pfizer or anti-COVID shots, which that's not what he's saying, but he is saying anti-Pfizer, then you must be anti-vaccination.
Okay, the multi-billion-dollar companies that have made their nut by generally addicting people to a plethora of medications, not to cure them, but to keep them. I don't want to get weird here.
That's not fair.
I mean, look at the opium epidemic. How much money did they make, bro?
No, I'm not saying they're not making a ton of money off of it. But I'm saying.
I mean, they also had the biggest lawsuit in history, even more than Alex Jones was awarded for mislabeling advertisements to people and getting people addicted to drugs.
There's a whole lot of bad things, but you cannot come out and say the reason they're doing it is to get people addicted to drugs. I think that's a overzealous statement. You can say there's lots of things that they can be guilty of, but that's very specific, and I don't think we should say that.
I'll say the reason they're in business is to make money.
Yes.
And the easiest way to make money is to sell Oxycontin.
No, that's not it. So there's lots of drugs that people need all the time. Okay. So there's life-saving drugs. Listen, if you have high blood pressure, you have to take a drug for the rest of your life every day.
Yeah.
That's why drug companies make so much money. I want to stay out of the Oxycontin business.
Well, okay, let's talk about cancer meds then. Zachary Levy's father died 5 days ago of cancer. 5 days ago, his biological father died of cancer. Okay? These trash people on Twitter yelling at him in his tweet where he says farewell to his father, yelling at him about being anti-vax and
it's ridiculous,
is insane. It's insane. Right. And Grace Randolph taking the side of these insane people and saying, well, he won't be DC's problem anymore, calling him an evangelist and just pushing him as far right as possible so she can attack him, is also insane. And it's disingenuous, and it's wrong. This guy simply said Big Pharma is probably bad. And
Big Pharma is bad.
After his father died of cancer. How many years was he probably on cancer meds?
But that's not the point. I mean, a lot of those medicines save lives. So we can't say it's the medicine. Okay, it's how much they charge for the medicine. That's the problem. It's what insurance companies are. I mean, if you want to talk about the truth of the matter, it's not the medicine that's the problem.
No.
It's how much they charge for it.
Absolutely.
And they charge as much as they humanly possibly can. And it's not fair for people who can't afford it. That's the bull crap part of this.
Yeah. Diabetes, insulin injections that cost 33 cents should not cost $133.
Exactly. That's the problem.
That is insane. And you know what? How about this? How about every medication you have, the second it falls into the public domain and there's a generic option available, you make a tweak to it in order to keep it out of that generic place. Just a little tweak. You know what? We're going to make this extended release now, so it can still be our patent forever. I mean, it's so dirty.
So no regular person who's working for a living or living paycheck to paycheck or, who struggles to pay for medicines, should be on the side of Big Pharma making more money.
Yeah.
And so what Zachary Levy said here, which is, the guy's got money, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like he's got to worry about how much his medicine's going to cost.
Right.
For him to come out and say these things, there are a lot of things that Pfizer has done that is bad.
Yeah.
And including lying, and they've been caught. And, if you watch Meet Kevin, he's gone deep into it recently with a lot of stuff going on. He really gives great breakdowns of that. But they've done a lot of shady crap. And so, do they bring medicines that the world needs? Yes. Do we need these medicines? Absolutely. Are they shady about how they probably market it and how they do it? Absolutely. But we don't know if Zachary was talking about and what his statement included vaccinations for COVID, I'm guessing, or vaccinations in general. We don't know if that's what we don't know what he meant in that statement completely, but we can say there are some shady things. And if you are anti-vax, then I guess you might also say something like that. So, I mean, we don't know the truth of what he said. He didn't come out and say that's not what I was talking about. So it's possible that he meant that. But we do know there's very few things good about big pharma other than the fact that they do provide medicines that we need. There's bigger problems than whether people want to take a vaccination or don't want to take a vaccination. And that's what it costs to get the medicine, the life-saving medicine that people need.
Yeah, a vaccine, I might add, that they were handsomely paid for. They're not saviors here, okay? They were handsomely paid for. I'm sorry, 1 second.
They handsomely paid. He's right. So they're making tons of money off of us. You know, the government, it's something that probably should be regulated here in the United States. You know, other countries do that a lot better. But as we know, the U.S. medical system isn't fantastic anyways. But,
I apologize.
You know, it's fine.
They were handsomely paid for those vaccines. They made $1 trillion off vaccines. So come on. They're not saviors. They didn't save the human race here, guys.
But this argument is really about vaccination versus anti-vax. And that's a political thing. And that's why people are saying the things that they're saying. And unfortunately, when you allow the entire planet to all speak at the same time, a percentage of those people are idiotically going to say stupid things like they said on Twitter, you know, attacking him for a stance that they're not even sure that he has, frankly speaking.
Right.
Including Grace Randolph.
Thank you for that segue, Shane. I was losing it for a second. Yes, Grace Randolph saying that first off, she said that he's no longer DC's problem. So she's insinuating that he's gonna be out of DC. Just to reiterate here, just because sometimes Grace Randolph is correct doesn't mean that she's always correct. Let's be clear. And she says a lot of things every single day, and more than half those things are completely false and don't never actually come to fruition. So if she says something, don't just be like, oh, well, she's an insider. She knows what she's talking about. And her jab at him, calling him an evangelist and being like Chris Pratt, but even worse, insinuating that if he is religious, that it's a problem. Yeah.
Her politics are showing, bro. That's all it is.
Shut up, Grace. I mean, shut up and get a better mic. Jesus.
Listen, we all try our best not to let our politics show. And she's just not doing a very good job of it.
Right. It's pretty bad.
You're not a political channel, Grace. You're an entertainment
channel. So shut up. All right. But James Gunn did respond to this silly controversial thing that said Big Pharma's bad. And this is what he said. And this is great. And we're going to end it here. When they asked him to clarify about Shazam, because people were calling for Zachary Levy to be fired and blah, blah, blah.
That's pretty normal.
Yada, yada, whatever. And he was like, listen, actors and filmmakers that I work with are going to say things that I agree with and things I don't agree with. That's going to happen. I don't have a list of things that someone should say because of what I think. And you know, I can't be changing my plans all the time because an actor says something that I don't agree with. By the same token, if somebody doing something morally reprehensible, that's a different story. We have to take all this stuff into account. It's a balance. It's a modern world in a different place. And you know what? Someone who people tried to cancel for naughty jokes, he would understand how much of a silly thing it would be to fire someone or remove someone because of a political or even religious stance. Of course. So I'm glad that James Gunn said this. Completely dispelled all the people out there trying to get a trending hashtag for fire Zachary Levy going.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, he has a great statement there. It's very middle of the road. It's honest, but the reality is like James said, I'm not going to let somebody's opinion derail my decision making. Neither should any of you allow someone else's opinion to derail yourself. Don't let people make you upset by their takes. Don't let it change your chemical balance in your body and to become unbalanced and to ruin your day. You know, be your own individual. And if people say things that you don't agree with, remember it's supposed to be a free world. So let's let people say what they want to say and agree, disagree, and move on.
Yeah, and we're gonna wrap this up. I want to tell Zachary Levy, you're never gonna see this man, but I'm sorry for your loss, and I hope that you guys can take it okay, and I know your father's probably in a better place because cancer sucks.
Amen. Cancer sucks.
Cancer sucks. F cancer, bro. Okay, moving on.
All right, let's talk about something more positive. I feel like we've been just bringing down the rain today. What else we got?
It's your fault.
Yeah, I'll take it.
How about the complete guide to all of DC?
Yeah, so they finally came out with that stuff. That's cool. Yeah. So we know what's happening going forward. Okay.
All right, this is sort of positive until we get to the Superman part that I'm going to scream probably, but here we go. All right, we were talking about the DCU announcement. James Gunn got on Twitter on video and broke down the first chapter of the new DCU slate. And for all the folks out there saying, it's a hard reboot, you were wrong. And for all the people saying, he's keeping the Snyder Cut, you were wrong. Everyone was wrong. It's at best a soft reboot. He's keeping a lot of characters. He's utilizing the story to sort of do what James Gunn does and make his own weird sort of eclectic universe. And I gotta tell you, however this pans out, it might not be what I would have done with DC, but I know it's going to be very interesting. So we're gonna watch this little thing, and then we're gonna break down all the different characters or the different projects they're working on.
Hey everybody, I'm James Gunn. I'm the co-CEO of DC Studios. So as many of you know, DC has been disconnected in film and television for a long time. And it's one of, our jobs, mine and Peter's, is to come in and make sure the DCU is connected in film, television, gaming, and animation. That the characters are consistent, played by the same actors, and it works within one story. And if something is outside of that, like Matt Reeves' Batman or Todd Phillips' Joker or Teen Titans Go, that it is clearly labeled as DC Elseworlds, outside of the mainstream DCU continuity. Now, Peter and I have gotten pretty lucky in terms of the 4 projects that are coming out over the next year. First, we have Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Shazam has always been off kind of in his own part of the DCU, so he connects very well. That moves directly into The Flash, a fantastic movie that I really love that resets the entire DC universe. And then to move into Blue Beetle, a fantastic film about a kid who's a marvelous part of the DCU, and then into Aquaman 2, which leads directly into our next few projects, which I'm going to tell you about now. So, Peter and I, along with a group of very talented writers, have started to map out an 8 to 10 year plan of what DC Studios will be in film, television, and gaming. This first chapter is called Gods and Monsters. Now, what I'm about to tell you is a part of the first chapter. It's not the entire first chapter. The first project is Creature Commandos. Creature Commandos is an animated series. I've written all the episodes. Something we're going to do that's a little bit different at DC is we're going to have characters move into animation, out of animation, usually having the same actor play their voice as who plays them in live action. The next project up is Waller. This is a story of Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis. Viola Davis is going to team up with members of Team Peacemaker, and this is a story that's been created by Crystal Henry, who did Watchmen, and Jeremy Carver, who created the Doom Patrol. It is a fantastic story that's out of this world, and I can't wait for people to see it. Okay, next up is the big one, the true beginning of the DCU. This is called Superman Legacy. This is being written by me. I'm in the middle of it. I'm having a great time doing it. And Superman will be released into theaters July 11th, 2025. Okay, the next thing is a big premiere HBO television series called Lanterns. This is a story of a couple of Green Lanterns, John Stewart and Hal Jordan, and we have a few other Lanterns peppered in there, but this is really a terrestrial-based TV show, which is almost like True Detective with a couple of Green Lanterns who are space cops watching over Precinct Earth. In it, they discover a terrifying mystery that ties into our larger story of the DCU. Next is a big movie called The Authority. The Authority is a passion project of mine. It's based on the marvelous Wildstorm characters we are now bringing into the DCU and will interact with all of our primary DCU characters. The Authority are a group of superheroes who think the world is broken and they want to fix it by any means necessary. I think it's a very different look at superheroes. We're doing a television series called Paradise Lost. Paradise Lost is the story of Paradise Island, usually known as Themyscira, which is the birthplace of Wonder Woman. It's almost like Game of Thrones with Westeros, but with all of the inhabitants of Paradise Island. The introduction of the DCU's Batman is The Brave and the Bold. The Brave and the Bold is the story of Batman and his actual son, Damian Wayne. This is based on Grant Morrison's great comic book run. Damian Wayne is my favorite Robin. He's a little assassin who Batman tries to get in line, and so this is the story of the two of them and the beginning of sort of the Bat family in the DCU. Next up is a TV series called Booster Gold. Booster Gold is one of comics' really popular cult heroes. He is a fascinating guy. He's a loser from the future who uses future technology to come back to present day and become a superhero so that people will love him. It is basically the superhero story of imposter syndrome on an HBO Max series. One of my favorite comic book series from last year was Tom King's run on Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And so we're going to turn that into a big science fiction epic film. Now, Superman is a guy who was sent to Earth and raised by loving parents, whereas Supergirl in this story, she is a character who was raised on a chunk of Krypton. She watched everybody around her perish in some terrible way, so she's a much more jaded character. And that brings me to Swamp Thing, the last thing we're going to talk about, a very dark horror story in the origins of the monster who is Swamp Thing. And although it's totally outside of the rest of the DCU, it will still feed into the rest of the stories. Anyway, those are the stories that I can tell you about right now. I've loved the DC character.
Okay. All right, real good stuff. And we're going to quickly go through these things. I do like the fact that he has picked up writers for this new chapter. We have writer of The Martian, Drew Goddard, Moon Knight and Doom Patrol, Jeremy Slater, The Flash and Batgirl scribe Christina Hobson, Watchmen's Crystal Henry, and comics writer Don King. Aside from Watchmen, all those, and Batgirl, I suppose, all of them are pretty good.
Yeah, well, I think we got, you need to take into effect here that this is not just movies. So he's dealing with movies and television, right? So streaming and movies, it's all going to be one world. And this is the first time I've seen this like this, where they're going to utilize the same characters in live action movies that they're going to use that do the voices for animation.
Yeah, it's real rad.
And that's different.
Which means that when they cast them, they have to cast them with the note in mind that they might end up being a live action thing.
Exactly. So it's going to be interesting casting. You're going to end up with higher profile people doing the voices for the animation than you would normally have in animation.
Which would make the animation also cost more.
And be more interesting.
But be more interesting, right. All right, yeah. So we start off this slate, or I started off with Superman Legacy. I hate this very much, but, you know, it's what he wants to do. I hate the fact that we're going to go back to him going to, him starting off working at the Daily Planet and meeting Lois for the first time and all that stuff. I don't care about any of that. I just hope that this is a stepping stone to us finally getting a continuation of Superman's story, because it seems like every time we get a Superman movie, it's him starting at the Daily Planet, meeting Lois Lane. Okay, we get it. Hopefully.
Well, no, that's not true. That's not.
Well,
fair.
what movie? Name a movie that continued his story.
I'm just saying they don't all start at the Daily Planet.
No. Yeah, no. I'm sorry. Most of them start when he's young.
Yeah,
and then end of the Daily Planet. Either way, I'm tired of only getting this block of his life. Can we get the later blocks where he's battling Brainiac and just doing this awesome, badass things that Superman does. Like, I don't understand. Like, is it a budget thing? Do you not want to?
Well, I think if they're going to start with a new character, a new actor to play Superman, they kind of have to have a baseline of sorts. I like that they're not going back to Krypton. Now, that would have really been tough.
Right.
If they went all the way back to Krypton, and I think maybe that's why James is doing it this way. You got to start somewhere and create a foundation. And if the foundation is the Daily Planet, that's fair, because when we watch, even though we did get backstory in the original Superman 1978 version, we really get an introduction to him in the Daily Planet, you know, as Clark Kent, the goofy character. And that's where I think we sort of fall in love with him. That's where we first see the main character who plays Superman, Christopher Reeves. That's when we first see his character at the Daily Planet. And so I think, you know, if you go back to like the Dean Cain Superman, it was at the Daily Planet with the you know, the Lois and Clark thing. So I think this is a good place to start, and then you can expand into it. Now, he did say they're going to be doing this, they're planning out for 10 years. So it wouldn't surprise me if, as we go through this decade, that we didn't eventually get into the Brainiac stuff and move forward into that area. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I can see. Like I said, I'm hoping that this is a stepping stone to the good stuff, because as a lifelong Superman fan, you know, I just feel like I've been blue-balled for 40 years. And we were getting so close with Cavill's Superman. Like, we were so close. We were so close to seeing him. We got to see him fight in the Justice League. That was great. We were like, we're this close. And then pulled that plug right out from underneath us. So that sucks.
Well, is it fair to say that James Gunn is approaching this from, I mean, you got to look at the work he's done. So go back to Guardians of the Galaxy, take a look at Suicide Squad, and take a look at Peacemaker. What do we know about James Gunn's personality in these projects? They're very zany. They're very funny. They're very alive, awake, present, right?
Right.
So you can almost picture he's writing this Superman himself. He's doing this project. So I'm almost certain that that's his signature.
Right.
So that's going to be applied to this. So now let's think about, what do you think of a Superman applied with the Peacemaker, Guardians of the Galaxy type of style?
I mean, it can work. It can work. I just gotta get past this part. I just gotta get past the stuff the stuff I already know.
The grief. It's the grief for losing Cavill, I think, still, right?
I mean, sure, Cavill was a perfect Superman, like, hands down. But I can deal with that if I felt like they were going to continue his story. I just don't want to go back to the first day at Daily Planet. I don't want to go back to.
Well, where would be an appropriate place to start him, though? I mean, if you got a new Superman, where are you going to start him? You got to give him something that people are familiar with. You can't just start him, you know, in the future.
Yeah, I guess that's what sucks.
Create a new Lois.
You have to start him somewhere, but yeah, you have to make a new Lois. There's got to be that awkward moment where he's like, I'm Clark Kent with glasses, so I gotta go see. You know, gotta have him. Yeah, you gotta go back to that again. You know, we've seen it 15 times, but I guess we'll see it again, and hopefully this time it takes.
Right, because hopefully this is the last reboot for a while.
Like, hopefully this time it takes, and we don't gotta continually see that awkward moment where he's trying to pretend he's not Superman because he put glasses on. One more time, James. Come on, baby, let's bring it home this time. 18th time's the charm, my friend. 18th time the charm. All right. Moving on from Superman. Next up is Supergirl, Wonder Woman of Tomorrow. Now, this can actually be potentially pretty great.
I actually, the way he described it, where she's, you know, grows up on a piece of Krypton.
Right.
And like basically all these bad things happen to her. I'm like, oh, that's already intriguing.
Right. Yeah. This is the way Supergirl should be done. It's never been done this way. But so I said this on the other stream. Supergirl is always pushed through this mold of like a female version of Superman. But that's not what the character is. Now, is it a female Kryptonian? Yes, but they have completely different they were raised completely different people.
He was nurtured. She wasn't. Yeah.
Even the Supergirl show had her like crash land and like be raised by Dean Cain or whatever. The way it should be is she was already grown. She is like, let's say, late teens, early 20s. She was sent forward, or she was sent with Clark to look after Clark, who was a baby. She watched her planet explode, and because of wormhole time shenanigans, Clark got to Earth way before she did. So when she finally showed up, he was already grown up, and he didn't need her. So now she is this heartbroken person who her planet was destroyed from her perspective 5 minutes ago. All right, she watched everyone she loved die. She was not a nurtured individual. She doesn't love humans the way Clark does. So even if she's a good person at heart, there's a lot of Zod in this character.
Right.
And it's different. It's just so much different than Superman. It's not that she's weaker or stronger or anything like that. It's a different person, just like you and I are different people. And they've never done that correct. The TV show didn't do it right. They never did it right. Even the cartoons barely did it right. Barely. Because even then they had like, she showed up, she was in Daisy Dukes, she got put on the farm with Martha Kent. You know, I'm not complaining about the Daisy Dukes, folks. I'm just saying that, like, you know, she's supposed to be a little bit of she's a broken person with superpowers. Remember that.
Yeah. Good point. It seems like James is focused on that, and that's good. That's a good sign.
Yeah. I hope it is.
This one bugs me.
Yeah, this one is so stupid to me, dude.
I don't see I'm not a huge comic guy, so this could be something I don't understand. Like, I know Batman and Robin, but I don't know Batman and Son looking like Robin. Explain it to me.
Yeah. So, Damian Wayne was the latest Robin. Originally, Robin was not related to Bruce Wayne.
Right.
After he burns through a couple Robins, they all die. By the way, Bruce, after the first Robin dies, don't give it another go with another 15-year-old kid.
Wait, and even worse, don't make your son the last Robin. You've already lost 2.
Right. Well, so Damian Wayne was actually like raised by Raja Ghul. So he wasn't raised by Bruce Wayne. He was raised with the Guild of Assassins or whatever. And the kid has like major problems. He is a psychopath. He is mentally unfit to be a part of society, much less being in a costume, crime fighting with weapons. This kid is the definition of what would happen if unstable teenagers were given superpowers.
Okay.
The guy is not. People love this character. I hate him.
I love the way Gunn describes him, though. As much as it seems dumb, I will say I love this because he calls him a little son of a bitch, an assassin, and a murderer, and a little bat brat, crown prince of crime fight. I kind of like all that. So it's intrigued. The whole premise is dumb to me, but him describing him that, and that's the thing I like about Gunn, is that he can do things with characters that other people can't do. His characters are so well developed. So perhaps he can turn this from looking dumb into something that feels better.
Can I tell you what I'm concerned about? I'm concerned about this movie being about Robin, and Batman is just part of the story.
And that could happen because you do have the Batman, which he did say will continue as an outside DC Elseworlds thing. So, you know, that may be the Batman that gets the singular focus, and then you end up with the side story of Batman.
Right. Okay. All right. Next up is Paradise Lost. Now, this is very interesting. He described it as Game of Thrones meets Themyscira. Okay, that's cool. It would be a prequel. Wonder Woman would not be a part of it. It would be an HBO Max series. That means that the Wonder Woman movies can continue completely untouched by this. And I think it might be interesting seeing a bunch of like super buff, sexy chicks fight over the throne of Themyscira. I'll take it. Why not?
Wasn't there another character that he mentioned that was here that was connected somehow? I could have swore and I missed it because I couldn't hear it again. But somebody else was going to be associated with this, and it happens to be the same place where the Wonder Woman Amazons were. Need to go back and look at that. I believe there's another character that's going to be a part of this from the comic books.
No, I from what I heard in that, what he said was Paradise Lost is basically, it's about the same island that Wonder Woman's from, Themyscira. But it takes place way before when they were fighting over the island. So
I feel like there's some other, he mentioned maybe something else. We'll have to look back at that and see.
I think he mentioned Westeros, but that's Game of Thrones.
That's Game of Thrones. So
yeah, this is exact quote was, "How did it come about? What's the origin of the island of all women? What are the beautiful truths and ugly truths behind all of it?" Yeah, might be cool. This I am looking forward to this. A Booster Gold HBO Max series. Like if you asked me what would be on my bucket list of things to see, it would be an HBO Max series rated MA with Booster Gold. 100%.
Did you see Joseph Malazzi tweeted out, "I want on this"?
Yeah, Joseph Malazzi would be so good at this.
Yeah, that he was like he sent to James Gunn that he wanted to be on this project. I really hope James considers him because he would be great.
Yeah, no, yeah, Malazzi would be perfect for this.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, this is about a time traveling hero in quotes. He's basically this he's a football player, a failed football player who uses time travel and futuristic technology to come back in time and basically play superhero.
Right.
My fan casting for this guy before he got too old would have been like Nathan Fillion, like perfect character. So think about
well, he's probably too old.
Yeah, too old now. But like this is like their version of Deadpool, sort of. You know?
Okay. Well,
sort of snarky, fails a little bit. You know, a little selfish, but heart of gold kind of guy.
Kind of like the guy from the Amazon show, The Boys, the bad guy.
Yeah. Sort of like that. I can see that. More like, well, less Homelander and more like, yeah, I guess, no, I wouldn't call him Homelander. Because he's an anti-hero. He's not a bad guy.
That's true. Yeah.
He's a selfish good guy. Yeah, it's hard to explain. I think in the comic books, his character, his demeanor was very Deadpool-like. If I can try to sum it up. And then, of course, this is right up James Gunn's alley. Creature Commandos.
I don't know anything about this one.
Yeah, go look it up. It's like, imagine if all the monsters and Frankensteins and mummies and all that became superheroes. It's really weird.
And that's going to be animated, right?
Yes, thank God.
Okay, yeah. I'm like, that needs to be animated. So
yes.
I probably won't.
Now, this right here, someone said earlier, this is how he keeps his wife employed. Keeping his wife employed with the Waller series, HBO Max. And this is going to be Waller with Viola Davis. It's probably going to have the same Peacemaker. It's probably Peacemaker 2, right?
That's what I'm thinking. That's how they're going to keep Peacemaker going.
Right.
That's and the great thing about Waller is you can introduce and weave in and out a bunch of characters. Well, we just saw her in the Black Adam movie.
Right.
So, she can be the central hub to a bunch of characters coming in and out that would lead us to new series. So I think this is actually a key series that we're gonna need to see on HBO for DC.
Yeah, and how about this? This is how you know, without a shadow of a doubt, this is not a reboot. Things are being changed, probably via the Flash movie, I'm assuming. But the Peacemaker crew is still part of this universe. Waller, played by the same character, is still part of this universe. We know Aquaman, played by Jason Momoa, is still part of the universe. From what we know, a healthy portion of the Snyderverse, if you want to call it that, is still part of the universe going forward.
At least the actors who play the characters, yes.
Right. Which is like,
The tone may change, though.
The tone may change, but like from a normie perspective, this is the same characters.
Yeah. Don't be surprised if these characters suddenly become a little more funny.
I don't know about, but I don't think Waller ever will be funny. But yeah.
Well, no, she's the straight person, but I'm saying like, don't be surprised if Aquaman becomes a little more. There's a little more humor involved in these.
Right. Things. That's a James Gunn thing for sure.
Absolutely.
And then we got Lanterns. Finally, the Green Lanterns are coming to the big screen.
This has me excited.
Yep, it's an HBO Max series, but it's awesome. It's like, you know what? It's like Lethal Weapon with power rings.
Love it.
Are you kidding me? Sign me up, dude.
Right? I'm just like, this is something I want to see. Listen, we've needed a good Green Lantern thing for a long time.
Right.
I really hope this is good.
And then this is weird. They're gonna do Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing's cool. It's different, man.
It's weird, bro.
It is weird, but it's like so on the outlier of comic stuff. But it's actually going to be a really compelling story, I think.
I love what's written here. The dark and dank Swamp Thing will delve into the terror-filled tale of the infamous Muck Dweller, marking the finale of DCU's Chapter 1.
Oh, look, they're not doing phases. It's chapters.
Yeah, they're doing chapters. Also, remember, Snyder Cut did chapters.
Oh, well, I guess I wasn't paying attention to that
one. All right. So, it's Swamp Thing. If you don't know who it is, go look it up. This character is weird. You don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy most of the time. He's just sort of a weird character. I don't believe the character can stand on its own. I believe it needs to be with other characters. It reminds me of like a more intelligent version of Groot. So, like in the comic books, a lot of the times you have him like teamed up with like Constantine, which we know that's happening with Keanu Reeves. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but Swamp Thing is a weird character. It's a weird character, very horror based. And I just don't know if they can do this by himself.
Well, he hinted at reuniting him with other heroes. Yeah. So
it's sort of like the Hulk, bro. Like you literally have to. He was great, but he's not great on his own, I don't think.
Well, he is when you watch the original Hulk TV show. It is fantastic. Okay. They're able to do that dichotomy of the Bruce Banner versus the Hulk. I mean, it works, it fits, but the movies did a terrible job of doing those two things.
Really did. Like talk about MCU failures there. Norton is like so angry about that. At every word, every time he has a chance to say anything about it, he complains. Edward Norton. And the Authority, and this is another very up James Gunn alley. It's very odd. The Authority, and this is what's the weirdest thing about this.
Do we know which ones are animated and which ones are live action?
So far, well, the Authority's live action for sure.
Okay.
Authority's live action. So here's the thing about the Authority. The Authority, it wasn't even DC. It was a part of another comic book, book, and it was brought into the DC universe because it was part of that in a weird way. But basically, these are knockoffs of Batman and Superman and other characters.
Right.
This is literally like the knockoff version of
the Boys.
This is the Boys.
Yeah.
This is the Boys. In fact, I'm pretty sure the writer of this also wrote the Boys.
Right. Which is perfect because what does it say here? Saffron compares the Authority to Jack Nicholson and A Few Good Men, saying there are the superheroes the world needs, whether they like it or not. So it's the authoritarian superhero show.
Yeah, but isn't it weird though to have like your knockoffs in the same universe as your main characters?
I mean, I guess if they're exactly the same, it'll be weird.
It's very similar,
But I mean, the Boys was kind of funny. They had an Aquaman. They had a Flash.
Yeah.
They had a Superman,
right? They had all the characters, bro.
But if you continue to watch it, they do become their own characters to you. Like, I don't look at him now and go,
Sure.
oh, that's Aquaman. I look at, oh, that's that disgusting water superhero. So maybe they'll do the same thing with these characters. What I love is he says that they will stop at nothing to safeguard the planet. So I don't know, that has trouble written all over it, and which might be fun.
Right. And then last, and in my opinion, certainly least, The Batman Part 2, which is an Elseworlds story, which means, this is what Elseworlds means, ready? Not part of anything, and I couldn't get rid of this because he was already contractually obligated to do this movie.
There's only one way I like what's coming with Batman Part 2, and if that is somehow they manage a way to merge the Joker and this version of Batman,
that would be good. If there was, so I hate the fact that there's a Joker Elseworlds and a Batman Elseworlds, and they're not with each other, and they have the same tone. Like, you know what? Just merge these two. Make a whole Elseworlds. Make a whole Elseworlds like timeline or whatever.
Right? Yeah, that would be great. Put Joaquin Phoenix with this guy, and let's see what happens. Joaquin Phoenix is going to destroy him, and I'd love to see that.
What?
Let's see one where the Joker wins. How about that?
The Batman's going to walk up to Joaquin Phoenix's Joker and be like, "I'm bringing you in," and Joaquin's like, just shoots him in the face.
Right. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah. I don't care about the Batman Part 2. I didn't really enjoy the Batman Part 1. It was super dark. It was really hard. It was literally, not like dark, like in tone. It was literally too dark. Couldn't see half what was going on. I don't know why they thought it was a good idea to put Colin Farrell in a fat suit. Like,
that didn't bother me.
I know, but why don't you just hire a fat actor that's good?
I know we keep going back to that, but in the end,
it bothers me so much.
He was fine.
Other guy would have been a better choice. You know it, and I know it.
I don't know it. I don't know how good his acting would have been. See, he's a funny guy.
He's an award-winning actor. He's won more awards than Colin Farrell. Look, I'll show you.
Josh Gad has won more awards than Colin Farrell. I mean, you can't. His animation work doesn't count. Sorry. Colin Farrell's a much better actor than Josh Gad.
Okay, sure. He's won a Grammy.
Yeah, probably for singing that stupid snowman song.
I think it was a theater thing. Look, all I know is he's a good actor.
He looks more like that, but the problem was he may not look like a gangster, which is what that character was.
I don't know. Colin Farrell didn't do it for me.
I don't know.
So it was too dark. I didn't like Colin Farrell. I didn't like Pattinson either. He's not a very good Bruce Wayne.
I didn't like any of them. It was there was nothing great about it.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, nothing of that movie, and to me, was interesting. Most of it was just meh. I also didn't understand the whole flooding thing. Like, things didn't add up. The movie is not a good movie. It made $1 billion. I'm telling you why it made $1 billion. Ready? Or $800 million, whatever. Because it's a Batman movie.
Yeah, they all make good movies.
Yes.
Good money, yeah.
Batman is always going to make that money. Superman movies are always going to make that money. They're going to make that money. That doesn't mean they're good. And it got a Part 2, frankly speaking, because all the studio sees is dollar bills, y'all.
Yep.
And this world sucks. And I know Robert Pattinson is capable of more. Because other movies he's been in he was actually very good. But he did not bring the heat this movie. He really felt sort of dull and just not interested in this job. He's supposed to be the world's greatest detective. I gotta be honest with you, man. This guy was not very good at being at detecting things. At least this guy. I know people go, "Oh, because he's young, he's just starting out." I don't know. Why do we always gotta just be starting out? It's like
well, you're not happy with young Batman. You're not happy with old Batman. What do we do?
I like old Batman. We talking about
now we do. In the beginning, we didn't like old Batman.
Which old Batman?
In the beginning, the Batfleck. In the beginning, there was lots of complaints about it.
I never complained about it personally, but okay.
All right, well.
All I'm saying is I'm so tired of watching these characters just start out and that being the excuse as to why they're so bad at their jobs. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. He's just starting out. He doesn't know how to be a detective yet. Well, then don't call him. All right.
That was the detective Batman. Literally, the way that it was written was supposed to be like a detective.
Yes, he was a detective. That was the point.
He was trying to hunt down a serial killer.
Sorry, I wish I can show this to you on my wall here. is a giant poster of the very first Batman cover, Detective Comics. All right. Anyways, that's it. The majority of this slate seems very fun. In the words of Pete Safran, 2025 is going to be a very big year for DC, and I hope that's the case. I do hope that the studio does not get wet feet the second one of these properties underperforms.
Yeah, that is the key right there. Studio needs to stay out of the business. Get out of the way. Let these guys do it and give them some time to make some mistakes. It's all going to depend on the stories. If the stories are good, it'll be good. That's it.
Here's the deal. It's bound to be an underperformer in this group. 100%. There's going to be at least a couple of these movies or TV shows are going to be quote unquote underperformers. Remember,
the first one can't be. That's the problem.
The first one's got to be a banger.
It's got to be good.
But you're allowed to have an Iron Man, as far as I'm concerned, you're allowed to have an Iron Man 2, Thor 1, and you're allowed to have you're allowed to have a couple movies that aren't great in a Thor 2, I guess. Actually, yeah, Iron Man 2.
All the Thors,
all
except
the
for
Thor movies,
the last one.
Except for the last couple.
Yeah.
You're allowed to have stinkers, though. What helped the MCU is that even though they had movies that lost money, they continued with those characters and those actors in that universe, knowing that ultimately it was going to be a massive net positive for them.
Well, and those characters that did poor in their movies did good in the Avengers movies.
Right.
So it's like there's redemption there. So.
Right. And then now, like, dude, Chris Hemsworth is Thor. It's perfect. Well, those first couple movies were pretty bad.
Well, the Dark World was bad.
Dark World was one of, like, that might be the worst Marvel movie.
Yeah, the first one wasn't horrible, I don't think.
It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't good either. It was just sort of
I think what happened is Dark World just kind of drug it down.
Dark World really did. It was such a bad movie. All right, guys. That's it for this. We're going to move on. Hit that subscribe button on the way to the comment section. Let us know what you guys think about this slate. What are you excited about? What are you not excited about? What do you think could be different? Let us know in the comment section below. That said, we are going to be moving on to the member section, Shane. Unfortunately.
Oh, all right. That was fast.
Was it though?
No, 3 hours and 15 minutes of live. So listen, hopefully you guys had a great time with us today. We talked about all kinds of great stuff. Hopefully you'll continue on with us over to the member section where we're going to be talking about some cool stuff. We're going to be talking about Strange New Worlds, New Faces. That's right. We've got some more information about Strange New Worlds for Star Trek. We're a little bit more DC stuff. James Gunn supports Ezra Miller, ? We need to figure out what that's all about. And of course, we're going to be breaking down Quantum Leap, episode 11, the most recent one, the best episode of Quantum Leap so far this year. So you won't want to miss that review breakdown in the member section. It costs less than half of a Starbucks coffee a month. So come join us.
Actually, it costs about a third of the Starbucks coffees that my wife wants every single time. I don't know how you can buy a drink that costs $11. I don't understand that. Nothing that you
just
drink.
Keep adding shots.
Yeah, but nothing you drink should ever cost, outside of liquor, it should be $11.
Yeah,
okay.
Fair enough. Good point.
All right, guys, come on over. How do you get there? Shane, how do they get there?
Well, you can just stay right here because if you stay here, it'll automatically bring you right over to the member section. Or you can click on the link that Brian's about to put up for you, which you didn't see that coming. And that'll allow you to join as a member and check out what's going on over there. We have lots of interesting things coming up. Our Galaxy Quest, if you didn't get a chance to see our Galaxy Quest documentary, it's currently sitting in the member section and probably be re-released to the public in the future. But right now you can see that there. And we've got other great content we'll be bringing out to you there as well.
Yeah, the Galaxy Quest thing. Someone asked, what happened to the Galaxy Quest video? I didn't get to watch it. It's in the member section. It's going to be there it's going to be there for a while. We are planning on updating that, actually. But before we do, we're going to let it hang out in the member section for a while.
And we do talk to everybody a lot more directly. If you're a member, we try to have a little more personalized chats over on that side. So if you want to talk to us and you don't super chat, then that's a good place to actually talk to us more one-on-one.
Okay, that's it. We're going over to the members section where the water is warm and the Mai Tais are